The day after Naruto had beaten the Rustboro gym, he, May and Max had gone to celebrate his victory. While being joined by Iruka and the Konohamaru Corps, as they wanted to congratulate their former student and boss, respectively, for winning his first gym badge. Roxanne had also joined, as it was one of her days off from the academy, and there weren't any gym challengers. Plus, she was interested in learning more about her new assistant's former student, having been interested about Naruto, from what Iruka's told her, and after meeting him, personally. "My first gym badge," said Naruto, smiling as he looked at the stone badge, still amazed that he managed to beat Roxanne in their battle. "That is pretty cool, but don't forget, you still have to beat at least 7 more gym leaders to enter the Hoenn League," Max reminded, with Naruto nodding at his words. "He's right, Naruto, and you'll have to train really hard, as the other gym leaders will only get tougher from here on out, and they'll be giving it their all when you battle them," added Roxanne. "I know, and I plan to keep training and helping my Pokémon grow stronger. Then I will beat the other gym leaders and enter the Hoenn League," said Naruto, determined to get stronger, and prove he had what it takes. "Of that, I have no doubt," Roxanne said, smiling, as she fully believes that Naruto has what it takes to beat her fellow gym leaders. May felt her eye twitch at seeing Roxanne smile at Naruto like that, along with the look in her eyes. It annoyed May, that the admittedly beautiful gym leader was getting so close to Naruto. "Of course Naruto will be able to beat the other gym leaders, I've seen how hard he trains his Pokémon and knows he'll just get stronger. By the way, we should think about leaving soon, to get to your next gym badge, along with my first contest ribbon, as well," May said, with Naruto looking at her in confusion. I guess, but wouldn't it be good to rest for a while, to figure out where the next gym is, and where a contest is being held?" Naruto asked. "Yeah, but that's what Max and his Pokémon are for, so it'd be best to leave as soon as possible," stated May, with Naruto nodding slowly, still confused at May's behavior. What the blonde trainer didn't see, was May giving Roxanne a side glare, with the gym leader smiling in amusement, knowing exactly why May was acting like this. Challenge accepted, Roxanne thought. If you want Naruto, you and I could head back to the gym, and I can show you where the other gyms are located, and while I can't tell you too much about them, I can give you some tips," Roxanne offered, while smirking slyly at May, who growled lowly. "I don't think Naruto would like that. He'd prefer training on his own, rather than getting an unfair advantage," retorted May. "It's not like I would tell him their teams and how to defeat them, or anything like that. Remember, I am a gym leader, myself, so there are specific rules that I have to follow. Besides, the tips I plan to give him are more common knowledge, like what types they use, as well as a few for his overall journey," Roxanne said, as her smirks gains a more mischievous edge to it, which went over Naruto's head, but not May's. "In that case, Naruto can just figure that stuff out on his own, or look it up in a trainer guide, or online, when we're at a Pokémon Center," May said, as her glare intensified. "Well, maybe we should ask Naruto what he thinks," Roxanne said, as both girls looked at Naruto, to know what his thoughts on the matter are, with their expressions changing to smiles. Naruto muttered, while looking between the smiling girls, completely confused at their sudden change in behavior. "Oh, Naruto, still as oblivious as ever," Iruka thought, chuckling lightly at seeing his former student not realize what May and Roxanne were doing. Though Iruka can understand why the two like Naruto or are at least attracted to him. As despite what many in Konoha thought, Naruto did have plenty of good qualities that girls would find attractive. Unfortunately, due to the QB, most girls around Naruto's age were raised to see him in a negative light, while those that weren't, only saw him as either a class clown, or the dead last. If it wasn't for the QB, and people getting to know Naruto better, Iruka was sure that the boy would have had a girlfriend, or two, by now. Max, meanwhile, chuckled at Naruto's confusion, while sipping his soda. Pulling out the Pokémon, Max figured he could check to see where the next gym is located, and where some contests are being held. Unfortunately, as Max was looking at the map, he lost his grip on his drink and dropped it, causing the contents to spill out right on the Pokémon. "Oh no," Max thought, freaking out as the Pokémon sparked, before shutting down. Desperately, Max tried to turn it back on, hoping he didn't break it. only for it to stay closed, making the boy pale, realizing he had indeed broke it. May is gonna kill me, thought Max, knowing he had to get away, to hopefully get the Pokémon fixed. Looking at the group, Max saw they were all talking, with no one looking at him. Knowing this was his chance, Max carefully slipped away, and out of the Pokémon Center. Okay, now I just have to find somewhere that can repair the Pokémon and get back before anyone notices. Easy, Max thought, not noticing Konohamaru walking up behind him. Where are you going, Max? Konohamaru asked, with Max jumping slightly in surprise. Konohamaru, what are you doing here? Max asked nervously, while hiding the Pokémon behind him, with Konohamaru narrowing his eyes suspiciously. I saw you leaving and was curious as to why. What are you hiding, anyway? Said Konohamaru, while trying to see what Max had behind his back. What, me, hiding something? Never, said Max, while moving around Konohamaru, so he didn't see the broken Pokémon. Annoyed at Max keeping something secret, Konohamaru then smirked as he got an idea. Okay, then you won't mind me telling May and boss. Hey ma, Konohamaru tried shouting, only for Max to cover his mouth. Alright, look, I accidentally short-circuited the Pokémon, and I was hoping to find some place to fix it, so I didn't have to tell May I broke it. Max revealed, knowing his hands were tied, and had to tell Konohamaru what happened. Is that it? Why didn't you say so? I can help you find a place, said Konohamaru. Really? Max asked, with Konohamaru nodding. Yeah, after me, Moegi, Udon and Iruka got settled in Rustboro, we looked around and know most of the city by now. It'd be easier than just wandering around, Konohamaru explained. Yeah, thanks Konohamaru, Max said, relieved at the help. No problem, now let's go, Konohamaru replied. Nodding, the two boys began traveling through Rustboro City, looking for somewhere Max can have the Pokémon repaired. After a while, the two boys happened upon a crowd of kids surrounding a table, with a man wearing a light purple suit and a bowler hat. You're gonna love the next invention, I show ya, the man said, catching Max and Konohamaru's attention. This guy's an inventor, Max wondered, as they walked up to the crowd. They watched as the man showed off a can opener shaped like a wrestler. It looked pretty interesting, until it failed, when the drink sprayed all over the man's face, causing the kids to walk off. Aw man, I really need to get this fixed, Max said, having hoped this guy might be able to help. Hey kid, what's the matter kid? The man asked, while walking up to Max and Konohamaru. My name's not Kid, it's Max, said Max, not liking being called Kid. And I'm Konohamaru Sarutobi, Konohamaru introduced. And I'm probably going to have to tell my sister that I broke our Pokémon, Max answered, while looking at the broken device. Maybe you won't have to tell her anything. You'd just have to go to the Devon Corporation, said the man. The Devon Corporation? Max asked, remembering the man that he, Naruto and May had met in the Petalburg Woods, who works there. That's right, the Devon Corporation can repair anything, because we make everything, including that Pokémon, answered the man. Really? Konohamaru asked, surprised to hear this. Yep, and that's not all, Devon even produces Pokémon there, too, the man revealed. Of course they didn't produce actual Pokémon, but merely resurrected ancient Pokémon from fossils. They can produce Pokémon. No way, said Max, knowing that was impossible. Do I look like the kind of guy to lie? I'm an inventor. Huh, the man said, before seeing a car pull up, only to freak out when he saw who got out of the car. Oh, nice meeting you, Max and Konohamaru. And the Devon Corporation, it's the biggest building in town, said the man, before immediately running off. Hey wait, Max said, needing more information than just it being the biggest building, when the guy from car ran past him and Konohamaru. Something weird is going on around here, said Konohamaru, feeling there was more to that guy in the suit than meets the eye. Yeah, but come on, we at least know where we can go to get this fixed, said Max, with the two boys walking off to locate the Devon Corporation. With Naruto, May, Iruka, Moegi, Udon and Roxanne. Meanwhile, Naruto and May, along with Iruka, Udon, Moegi and Roxanne, were looking through Rustboro City, searching for Max and Konohamaru. After noticing that the two boys had disappeared, and getting worried for where they were, the group had gone off to try and find out where they went. Where could they have gone? May wondered, worried for where her brother ran off to. Maybe Max wanted to look around Rustboro some more, and Konohamaru went with him, since we've been here long enough to see where everything is. Uruka suggested. Maybe, but I'm still worried, and I swear, if this is Max trying to pull a prank, he is so going to get it. May swore, with fire in her eyes. Hey boss, where are you guys going, after you leave Rustboro? Moegi asked, curious of where the three will head to next. I was thinking that we could head towards Verdanturf town, since there's a Pokémon contest hall there, which would give May a chance to compete in her first contest. After that, we'll head down to Mavel City, where I can get my second badge at the Mavel Gym. Then it'll be off to Slateport City, where there's another contest hall, then it'd be easy to catch a boat towards Dewford, for my third badge. Naruto explained, this way May would get the chance to earn 2 contest ribbons, and Naruto would be able to get 2 more gym badges. May smiled at this, pleased that she'll get the chance to compete in 2 contests. She also made a mental note to study the notes Janet and Chaz gave her, so she can start her coordinator training. I should also think about catching more Pokémon too, just in case. May thought. May, if you want, I can help with your coordinator training. Naruto offered, seeing May look in deep in thought, and guessed what she was thinking about. Though while Naruto wasn't sure if he'd be much help, given he's training to battle in gyms rather than perform in contests. But from what he's seen, contests are about attention grabbing, beauty, as well as the grace of Pokémon and their attacks. And while Naruto wasn't sure about beauty or grace, he definitely knew plenty about attention grabbing. Really? Thank you, that'd be a big help. May replied, smiling happily, while excited that she'll soon get her chance to enter her first contest. He really is something special. Roxanne thought, smiling at Naruto's offering to help May in her training, with the gym leader being able to tell that Naruto didn't know much about contests but still offered. With Max and Konohamaru. Wow, when he said the biggest building, he really meant the biggest. Konohamaru said, as he and Max had to tilt their heads all the way back, just to see the very top of the Devon Corporation building. Yeah, come on, let's find out where we go to get the Pokémon repaired, said Max, as they ran up the stairs, and into the building. Though once they got inside, the two boys stopped, when they saw the inventor and the guy chasing him, from before, talking with Officer Jenny. Can I help you, Officer Jenny? Asked the guy, Kennedy. I apologize for taking your time, gentlemen. But I have information that says someone is planning on infiltrating the Devon Corporation, and thought it'd be best to inform you. Answered Officer Jenny. Who officer? Kenny asked, worried at the idea of someone infiltrating Devon Corporation. I've instructed my people to find out what they can about the situation. While I'd need you to double-check your security system, replied Officer Jenny. What neither of them noticed, was the inventor sneaking away from them. Max and Konohamaru, meanwhile, peeked out from behind a pillar, while not noticing the inventor suddenly appearing behind them. Hi, hiding from someone? Asked the man, surprising the two, before he quickly covered their mouths. Shish, I know this building inside and out, so it'd be best if you both come with me. He instructed, confusing Max and Konohamaru further. Later. Sir, where are we going? Max asked as the man guided him and Konohamaru down a hallway. Let me see the Pokémon, he said, grabbing it from Max's hands, despite the boy's protests. Hey, that belongs to me, said Max. I see, you spilled your drink inside here, stated the man, looking the Pokémon over, surprising Max and Konohamaru at how quickly he could tell what happened. They soon arrived at a set of double doors that slid open, revealing a lab, inside with 3 scientists. Shish, I think that Kennedy is still following me around. Don't say a word, the man said, with the scientists chuckling lightly. Would you take a look at this Pokémon? It's shorted out and has some moisture inside it, so I need a quick repair job, requested the man, handing the device to one of the scientists. No problem, I'll have it back in working order soon, Mr. President, replied the scientist. This shocked Max and Konohamaru, as they looked at the man, hearing he was actually the president of Devon Corporation. Wait, the president? Konohamaru asked. That's right, this is Mr. Stone, president of the Devon Corporation. One of the scientists answered. Yeah, but he tends to get in trouble with his assistant, Mr. Kennedy, from time to time. Added another scientist. Huh, why can't Mr. Stone do what he wants? Max asked, while also feeling like the name Stone sounded familiar. Well, that's just the way things are around here, answered Mr. Stone, knowing he much preferred inventing things than most of his normal duties. After leaving the lab, Mr. Stone gave Max and Konohamaru a tour of the building. Sometimes, I just need to get out of that stuffy office, and out into the city, looking for new inspiration. Kids are my greatest inspiration, which is why I love talking to them. Besides, if I hadn't been out there, we wouldn't have run into each other, with you two still being out there, running around scared of your sister, Max. Mr. Stone said, while smiling good-naturedly. Were we really that scared? Max asked. Maybe you were, Max, but I wasn't scared, denied Konohamaru. Actually, you both looked terrified. Come on, she can't be that bad, said Mr. Stone. Well, she isn't, but I also don't her to keep seeing me as a little kid that can't take care of himself. But when the Pokémon broke, I panicked and ran, rather than finding a way to tell her. Max said, looking down. I know how you feel, Max. My grandfather used to be the leader of our village, before he passed, and I always wanted to be seen as myself, rather than just his grandson, said Konohamaru, knowing how Max felt. Though in a way, Konohamaru did achieve his dream, as in server, no one knew who he was, or who his grandfather was. Now he was finally just Konohamaru, with his dream now being to prove he's a worthy rival for his boss, Naruto. Yeah, I know that feeling too, boys, Mr. Stone said, with Max and Konohamaru looking at him in surprise. You do? Max asked. I do, Max, answered Mr. Stone, knowing he had high standards to live up to, with his company, and even more so, given who his son is. Mr. Stone then began showing the boys some of the different inventions that Devon Corporation has created. So, Max, Konohamaru, what exactly do you boys plan to do, when you're older? Mr. Stone asked. I want to become a gym leader, like my dad, answered Max. I plan on becoming a Pokémon trainer, when I'm older, and win the Pokémon League, Konohamaru declared, with Mr. Stone laughing lightly. Well, those are some pretty high goals, but I believe if you're determined enough and never give up, you can do anything. In fact, my own son has risen to become quite the trainer, Mr. Stone said, smiling, while remembering when his own son was their age, and had dreams of being a great Pokémon trainer, something he has long since achieved. Hey Mr. Stone, would it be alright if our friends could come here, and see all this? Max asked. I don't see why not. Come on, we'll go find them and bring them here, answered Mr. Stone, only for his assistant, Kennedy, to show up and stop them. There you are, Mr. Stone. You can't leave, you still have several appointments that require your attention, Kennedy said, with Mr. Stone internally groaning at this. Right, thank you, Kennedy. But since I'll be here, would you be able to locate Max and Konohamaru's friends out in the city, and bring them here? Mr. Stone requested. Sure thing, Mr. Stone. What did they look like? Kennedy asked the boys, with them giving him a description of their friends, to better find them. After Kennedy left to find the others, Mr. Stone continued the tour, until they took notice of someone slipping research papers and machine parts into a bag. Mr. Stone, who's that guy? Konohamaru asked, pointing out the person grabbing things, with Mr. Stone narrowing his eyes at the stranger. Not one of my employees, that's for sure. Come on, let's see what they're up to. Mr. Stone, wondering if this was the thief that Office Jenny had mentioned. Later. Wow, so Max and Konohamaru are here? Naruto asked, looking at the Devon Corporation in amazement, walking up the stairs with the others, as they followed Kennedy, after the man had managed to find them. That's right. Mr. Stone has been giving Max and Konohamaru a tour of the building. The president always enjoys helping children and showing them around, with Max and Konohamaru even remind him of his own son, Steven, when he was their age. Kennedy answered. Steven? May asked, Kennedy nodding. That's right, Mr. Stone's son. He's a Pokémon trainer, one of the best around, replied Kennedy. Really? Maybe I'll run into him, and we could battle. said Naruto, excited at the idea of battling such a strong trainer. I'm sure you'll run into him eventually, Naruto. Roxanne said, while smiling mischievously, knowing if Naruto kept on his current path, he'll definitely have a chance to battle Steven. Kennedy was then stopped as he received a call. Yes, Mr. Stone. What? A thief in the building, they're going to the roof. I'll be right there, sir, with Officer Jenny. Kennedy said, hanging up and running up to Officer Jenny by the receptionist. Worried about what was happening, Naruto, Mei, Iruka, Moegi, and Udon ran after Kennedy and Officer Jenny to the roof. While Roxanne stayed behind and headed towards one of the video phones, calling one of her assistants back at the gym. She figured it'd be better to have all her Pokémon, if things escalated. The group managed to arrive on the roof, and just in time too, as the thief ran through a door. Hold it right there, Naruto shouted, glaring at the thief, who stopped after seeing them. Who are you, and why did you break into Devon Corporation? Kennedy demanded. The thief merely laughed at them and was about to go back the way he came, only for Mr. Stone, Max and Konohamaru to run up behind him. Okay, the game's up, Mr. Stone said. Max, Mei said, relieved to see her brother. Konohamaru, said Moegi and Udon, glad that their friend was safe. All right, return what you stole from our labs, now, said Mr. Stone. HMPH, I don't think so. Go Crawdont, the thief said, releasing his Crawdont. Crawdont, Crawdont, Naruto muttered, before pulling out his Pokédex. Crawdont, the rogue Pokémon. Crawdont are short-tempered, and quick to challenge opponents to battle. It is said that no other Pokémon can live in areas inhabited by Crawdont. Crawdont use Bubble Beam, ordered the thief. Crawdont opened its claws and shot out 2 beams of bubbles at both groups, with the others bracing themselves for the hit. Only for Naruto to quickly create several shadow clones, much to the shock everyone, besides Mei, Max, Iruka, Moegi, Udon and Konohamaru, and shield them from the bubble beam. Tisk, I don't how you did that, you brat, but it won't help you this time. Crawdont used Crabhammer on Blondie, said the thief, after getting over his shock. Crawdont jumped up and prepared to bring its claw down on Naruto, only for the blonde to unseal the Raijin and activated it, blocking the hit. The Raijin no Ken. Iruka thought, shocked to see the Nadime's blade that was stolen by Aoi Rokusho, now in Naruto's possession. Crawdont cried out as it was electrocuted by the lightning sword. Grr, little brat. You'll regret getting in Team Aqua's way. Crawdont return, said the thief, while recalling his Pokémon. The thief then pulled out a rocket-propelled glider and took off from the roof. Oh no you don't, Naruto shouted, jumping off the roof after the thief, shocking everyone again at seeing him jump, only to see Naruto land on another roof. You sure have some interesting friends, Max, Konohamaru. Mr. Stone stated in amazement. You have no idea, replied Max, before they all ran down the stairs to catch up to the thief and Naruto. Meanwhile, the thief had flown down the streets below and started running on foot. Looking back, the thief was shocked at seeing Naruto was still pursuing him. Persistent little bastard, the thief growled, before spotting an old man walking with a Wingull beside him. Wingull is a small, white Pokémon similar to a seagull. Its head makes up a large portion of its body, as it appears to lack a neck. It has thin, simplistic eyes, 2 triangular tufts on top its head, and an orange beak with a hooked, black tip. 3 blue-tipped feathers give it a fan-like tail. Its small, orange feet have 2 webbed toes. Wingull has long, flat wings with light blue stripes near the tips. Getting an idea, the thief sent out Crawdont, while giving it a full restore. Crawdont grabbed that Wingull, the thief commanded. Crawdont. Crawdont rushed forward and quickly trapped the Wingull in its claws. Pico. The old man cried out at seeing his friend be grabbed. All right, you little runt. You take one more step and the Wingull gets ripped apart, threatened the thief, with Crawdont clenching its claws around Wingull, making it cry out in pain. Wingull. Naruto growled in anger at the cowardly move. I'm going to make you regret that, said Naruto, with the thief smirking at seeing that Naruto wasn't going to make a move. We'll see about that, and here's a warning to those that get in Team Aqua's way, Crawdont crush Wingull, the thief ordered. No, the old man shouted in fear. Crawdont, snapping its claws shut around Wingull, only for the Pokémon to suddenly vanish in a puff of smoke, with a crushed log in its place. "What?" the thief shouted in shock, while Naruto smirked. "Pico. Thank goodness," the old man said, seeing his friend fly over to him. Wingull. Pico flew onto the old man's shoulder, thankful to still be alive. "No more dirty tricks, bastard. And now, I'm going to enjoy this," Naruto said, ready to beat the thief into the ground. "Grr, don't get cocky, brat. Go Araquanid and Seismitoad," the thief called out, as he sent out 2 more Pokémon. Seismitoad is a bulky, blue, bipedal toad-like Pokémon. Its underside and the speaker-like bumps found on various parts of its body are cyan with black edges around the belly. Its hands and feet have 3 bulbous digits. Additionally, Seismitoad have red eyes, cyan adornments on its legs, and a long tongue. Araquanid is an arachnoid Pokémon with a water bubble around its head. The majority of its body is dark gray with accents of yellow-green and light brown. It has large, blue eyes with a paler wavy line through the centers. Above its eyes are light brown markings similar to eyebrows. It has 3 pointed, blue bumps on top of its head and 4 fang-like projections underneath. Both the bumps and its eyes are capable glowing. Its abdomen was a light brown stripe down the center of its back with 2 horizontal lines crossing it. There are several light brown extensions at its neck that flare out and connect to the bubble around its head. At the end of its abdomen is a light green spinneret. It has 6 light green legs with opaque bubbles around the joints. The tips of its legs are dark gray. Naruto frowned at seeing the 2 new Pokémon, while the thief smirked confidently, believing he now had the advantage again. Thinking that Naruto's previous counterattack was a fluke. "Hey Naruto, you look like you could use some help," Roxanne said, getting everyone's attention, with Naruto noticing the new Pokémon with her. It is a mostly blue, rock Pokémon. It has small round eyes, a red nose that is large in proportion to its body, and a bushy black mustache that appears to consist of iron filings. These iron filings appear to be attracted by its magnetic nose. It has 3 small objects on its sides and back, called mini noses, which it is able to control. It has a big red hat-like magnet on top of its head and has strong magnetism from all over its body. "Roxanne," Naruto said, surprised at her appearance and the new Pokémon, while taking a moment to scan it, along with the other 2 Pokémon. Probopass, the compass Pokémon, and the evolved form of Nosepass. Its body acts as a powerful magnet. It controls 3 smaller units called mini noses. Seismitoad, the vibration Pokémon and the evolved form of Palpitoad. By vibrating the bumps on its fists, Seismitoad increases its power, pulverizing a boulder with a single punch. Araquanid, the water bubble Pokémon and the evolved form of Dewpider. Despite what its appearance suggests, it cares for others. If it finds vulnerable, weak Pokémon, it protectively brings them into its water bubble. "You think a Probopass will help you? Please, I have the numbers and type advantage," the thief scoffed, while Roxanne smirked. "Probopass use Thunder on Crawdont and Araquanid," Roxanne said. Probopass. Probopass's nose glowed yellow, before it unleashed a massive bolt of electricity at both Crawdont and Araquanid, which enveloped the 2, as they cried out from the shock they received, before falling unconscious. "What?" the thief shouted, shocked that 2 of his Pokémon were taken out in 1 hit. "Now use Tri-Attack on Seismitoad," said Roxanne. Probopass. Probopass's mini noses detached themselves, before spinning around rapidly and firing 3 colored beams at Seismitoad. "Cease!" Seismitoad cried out, as it was launched back, before crashing onto the ground, unconscious. The thief was shocked at seeing just how easily his Pokémon were taken out. Though in his shock, he didn't see Naruto walk up to him, until the blonde buried his fist in the thief's stomach. The thief gasped on pain, before Naruto brought his knee up into his face, knocking him out. After making sure the thief and his Pokémon were knocked out, Naruto looked at Roxanne and Probopass in amazement. "Your Probopass is really strong," Naruto stated, with Roxanne nodding, knowing what Naruto was thinking. "Why didn't she use Probopass in their battle?" "Yeah, Probopass was actually my starter Pokémon, from when I first became a trainer. The Nosepass and Geodude you faced Naruto was bred for trainers that were looking to earn their first gym badge. In fact, all the gym leaders have several teams of Pokémon they use, depending on how many badges their challengers have. Roxanne revealed. This shocked Naruto, to hear that he hadn't faced Roxanne's true team, and likely won't face the other gym leaders' true teams either, given he still only has one badge. Naruto quickly shakes off his shock, and grins competitively at Roxanne. Then that just means I'll have to really train my Pokémon for when we have a rematch with your real team. Naruto said, with Roxanne having a matching competitive grin. And I'll be waiting, replied Roxanne. It wasn't long until the others showed up, with Officer Jenny showing up and taking in the thief and his Pokémon. Thank you, young man, and you, Roxanne, for helping save Pico. The old man said, while walking up to Naruto and Roxanne. There's no need for thanks, Mr. Brinny. I'm just glad I got here, when I did. Roxanne replied. Yeah, you don't need to thank me. I'm just glad your Pokémon is all right, Pico? Said Naruto, while smiling at Pico. Wingull. Wingull flapped its wings happily at its savior. Still, let me repay you some way. How about taking you all to a restaurant that serves Rustboro City's famous pasta, my treat? Offered Mr. Brinny, wanting to repay them somehow for saving Pico. Unknown to everyone, they were being observed by two people watching them all. This first was a tall, muscular, dark-skinned man with blue eyes, wears a black headwear around his head, with several blue teeth around his face. His suit is torn apart and shows Team Aqua logo painted on his chest. While wearing white outlined pants, with light blue details on his knees and feet. Around his neck and waist, he wears a yellow rope. This was Matt, an admin for Team Aqua. Scoffing at seeing the Aqua grunt be taken to jail, Matt pulled out his communicator. Contact our agents in the Rustboro City Police Department, have them silence the fool that let himself be captured, and retrieve his Pokémon. Matt ordered, while glaring at the group that interfered in their plan. Meanwhile, the second person observing the group, wore neither a Team Aqua nor Team Magma uniform. Instead, they were wearing a long black trench coat, black boots, a black general's cap, and black sunglasses, with all their clothing being highlighted with green or bronze. Raising a hand to their ear, the person activate their communicator. Ma'am, Team Aqua failed in their theft of Devon Corporation. Should I make a move to acquire what they tried stealing? Asked the person. No, whatever it is Team Aqua hoped to acquire, will serve no purpose for us. For now return to base, we'll remain in the shadows for now, until Maxie or Archie make their move. Yes, Madam CC. Replied the person, before leaving the site to return to base. Later, restaurant. After the Aqua Grunt and his Pokémon were taken away, Mr. Brinny had kept good on his promise and treated Naruto, Roxanne and their friends to dinner, with all of them thanking the elderly sailor. Hey Max, can I see the Pokémon? I wanna see the best route to Verdanturf town. May said, wanting to find the best route to her first contest. This made Max pale in horror, since he still hasn't gotten the Pokémon back from Mr. Stone. Thankfully Max was saved, when Mr. Stone arrived. Max, there you are. I forgot to return this to you, what with all the excitement that happened. My scientists just finished adding those upgrades I offered to have them put in, like the call function. Mr. Stone said, handing Max the Pokémon, while winking at the boy, with Max catching on and smiling in thanks. Yeah, thanks again Mr. Stone. Here you go May, Max said, before handing May the Pokémon, with the girl nodding in thanks. If you don't mind me asking, where you three being heading after Verdanturf? Asked Mr. Stone, while pulling up a seat. After Verdanturf, we'll be heading to Mauville City, before going south to Slateport City, and then on to Dewford, afterwards. May answered, while finding a route. Really? Well in that case, if it's not too much trouble, would you be able to deliver a letter to my son Stephen in Dewford? He's there at the moment, along with delivering a part to a scientist in Slateport, named Captain Stern. Mr. Stone asked. Yeah, we can deliver the part. But I'm not sure if we'll get to Dewford in time to meet your son. May said, knowing it'd be a while before they reached Dewford. No worries, Stephen informed he's going to be in Dewford for a long while. I'm sure there will be plenty of time to meet him there. Assured Mr. Stone. In that case, yeah, we can deliver the letter. Replied Max, wanting to repay Mr. Stone for his help. If your Pokémon has the call function, I can give you my number and come pick you up, in Slateport, once you're ready to head for Dewford. Mr. Brinney offered, knowing that ferrying them between cities is the least he can do, after their friend saved Pico. Thank you, Mr. Brinney. May and Max said, glad to have the help. While this was happening, Naruto looked at Iruka, having been meaning to ask him something, ever since they met each other again. Iruka, why are you, Konohamaru, Moegi and Udon here? And why are Neji, Hinata and Hanabi in the Kanto region? Naruto asked, having not figured just why they were here, and not back in Konoha. Though he was worried, when Iruka looked down. Naruto, after you left, Konoha was attacked by Suna and Oto, with Orochimaru leading the attack. A lot of people died, including Sasuke and Sakura, when they tried confronting Gaara, after he unleashed the Ikibi. The Sandaime also died fighting Orochimaru. Iruka revealed, with Naruto's eyes widening in shock, after hearing this. What happened after? Naruto asked fearfully. A new Hokage was chosen, and it was possibly the worst one. His name's Danzo Shimura, a warhawk that believes in a world where he's in control. He also believes that the perfect shinobi is made by killing one's own emotions. He also didn't make it a secret that he fully intended to attack Suna in retaliation, something that would definitely lead to another great ninja war. This led to the clan heads sending their children, the other rookies, to the server regions, including some others that they cared about, like Kurenai's old student. I came here with Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon. I don't know where the others are, or who else made it here. All I know is, right now, the elemental nations is either going to be at war soon, or it's already started. Iruka said, looking down, fully knowing that by the time the 4th ninja war is over, and potentially the 5th one as well, there won't be an elemental nations anymore. Naruto looked down after hearing this, not knowing what to think. Konoha was under the control of a tyrant, and his teammates are dead, just when Naruto thought they were actually starting to be friends. But Naruto, there's something else you should know. I'm sure a lot of other people from the nations have come to server as well, to escape the war and start new lives. There is a chance that there are ninja that came to the server regions, without benevolent intentions. Missing nins, Ronin ninja and mercenary ninja, that don't want to be dragged into a war that doesn't involve them. While also wanting to set up shop in a land, where their crimes don't exist. I'm telling you this, just in case you run into them. Iruka said gravely, with Naruto nodding slowly. I'll be careful, Iruka. But I think I need some air. Naruto said, standing up and exiting the restaurant, with the others looking at him in worry. Standing outside, Naruto wasn't sure what to think. He had come to server to escape the conflict and hypocrisy in the elemental nations, but now he's learned that the conflict has followed him here. Not only that, but the few people he cared about in Konoha, were now dead or going to die in the war happening in the nations. While Naruto was devastated to learn this, right now he just felt numb. Naruto. Mei said, having followed Naruto outside, after growing worried, when he didn't come back, after a while. Yeah, Naruto said, not looking at Mei. Are you alright? Asked Mei, concerned for her crush. Not really, I just learned some things that happened back in my former home. Said Naruto, still looking off into space. Now more worried, given what Naruto had learned was obviously not anything good, Mei grabbed Naruto's hand in hers, while finally getting the blonde to look at her. You don't have to tell me, if you don't want to, but I just want you to know that I'm here, when you're ready. Mei said softly. Naruto looked at Mei, thankful for her offer, but also realizing something. If there were missing nin here, like Iruka believed, then there was a chance Naruto would eventually run into them, and that would endanger his friends. I won't let that happen. Naruto swore, refusing to lose anyone else he cared about. He'll do everything he can to protect his friends, his Pokémon, and I'll always protect you, Mei, I promise. Said Naruto, while pulling her into a hug, surprising Mei. Oh. Mei said, surprised at his words and actions, while blushing lightly, before wrapping her arms around him, as well. The two then stood silent, looking each other in the eye, while embraced in each other's arms. Unconsciously, Naruto and Mei started leaning into each other, as they closed the distance between their faces. Though just before their lips could touch, they were interrupted by Max and the Konohamaru Corps running out. Hey Mei. Check out these other functions Mr. Stone installed in the Pokémon. Max said, completely oblivious to the position the two were in, due to their excitement. Naruto and Mei's eyes widened at their sudden appearance, before blushing brightly at how close they were to each other, and what they were about to do. Quickly, the two immediately pulled away from each other, and turned to look at the four kids. Though they did glance at each other, with small smiles on their faces. Timeskip, one day asterisk. Naruto, Mei and Max stood at the exit of Rustboro City that'll take them to Route 116. With them, were Mr. Stone, Kennedy, Ruruka, the Konohamaru Corps, and Roxanne, with them saying goodbye to the trio. I just want to thank you again, Naruto, for your help in apprehending the Team Aqua member. And I'd like to give you and Mei these, as my thanks. Mr. Stone said, with Kennedy handing Naruto and Mei what looked like a pair of Pokénovs, despite looking somewhat different than the one Max has, with Naruto being handed a dark orange one, while Mei was handed a red one. Pokénovs? Naruto asked. Not just any Pokénovs, these are the new and improved Pokénov Plus, enhanced versions of the normal Pokénov but with plenty more features. Including the call function, a map, a portable Pokémon transfer system. Access to news and current events, the ability to go online and surf the internet, free Wi-Fi built-in, a camera, the ability to locate nearby Pokémon, while being able to scan their moves and abilities, prior to capturing them, access to the global trading system, allowing you to trade Pokémon with people in different regions, a virtual reality feature, allowing you to play with and train your Pokémon, and finally being able to work, no matter what region you're in. I was also able to add a few of these features to Max's Pokénov, but not all of them, since it is an older model. But what really makes these special, is that they haven't even been officially released yet, meaning you and Mei are the first ones to receive them, Naruto. Mr. Stone explained, much to their amazement, as they looked at Pokénovs. Thank you, Mr. Stone. Mei said, amazed at receiving such an amazing item. Are you sure, sir? Asked Naruto, while holding the Pokénov Plus careful, in case he somehow broke it. Of course, this the least I can do, after you stopped the Team Aqua member from stealing from my company. Mr. Stone replied. Consider these my own gift to the both of you, as well. Said Kennedy, handing Naruto and Mei two great balls. While they didn't feel they deserved such gifts, Naruto and Mei nodded in thanks, before Naruto traded numbers with Mr. Stone, Ruruka and Roxanne, while Max shared Mr. Briny's number. I'll be sure to send Konohamaru, Moegi and Udon's numbers as well, once they get their own Pokénovs. Ruruka said, with Naruto nodding at his words. Naruto, I also want to thank you for earlier, it was really great for my class that you came in. Roxanne said, smiling at Naruto, who smiled back at the gym leader teacher. Earlier while Naruto, Mei and Max were buying supplies for their journey, Roxanne and Ruruka had asked him to help out in the beginner's class. Naruto had agreed, and the students had been excited to meet an official Pokémon trainer, and even better, one that had managed to beat their teacher in a gym battle. Mei and Max had also been there, with Max getting to know the Konohamaru Corps better as well. It had also allowed Naruto and Roxanne to get to know each other better, when it came time for lunch and when class ended. You don't need to thank me, Roxanne. I was glad to help and show the kids my Pokémon. Naruto replied, with Roxanne smiling at his words. Still, I'm glad you did. And while I don't have a luxurious gift like that Pokénov, I do have one thing to give you. Said Roxanne, though Naruto waved it off. You don't have to give me anything, I helped because I wanted to, not because I expected something in return. Said Naruto, with the gym leader's smile growing at his words. Well, I insist, Roxanne said. Then to Naruto's surprise, Roxanne leaned down and kissed Naruto on the cheek. I'll be looking forward to our rematch, Naruto, and seeing you again. Roxanne said softly. Okay, we need to get going, goodbye. Said Mei, now annoyed after the gym leader's action, while grabbing the stunned Naruto by his collar and dragging him away from Roxanne. Hey. See ya, everyone. Max said as he waved at them, while grinning widely, since he'll never let Naruto live this down. The others waved at the trio, with Ruruka looking at Roxanne with a smirk. You do remember Naruto is 4 years younger than you, right? Ruruka asked. I remember. But don't forget, as a Pokémon trainer Naruto's legally an adult. Plus you did tell me that he was already considered an adult, after becoming a ninja, as well. Besides, I don't think Naruto has any complaints. Roxanne smirking, as she saw Naruto was still frozen in surprise, as May dragged him along. This got a laugh out of everyone. Ah, to be young again. I can tell Naruto will be attracting plenty of attention, out on his journey. It reminds me of myself, when I was young. Mr. Stone said, having been quite the heartthrob, himself, in his younger years. And something told him that the rest of Naruto's journey will have even more surprises in store for him. So, what did you think? Good. Yep, Naruto, May, and Max along with Iruka, the Konohamaru Corps. And Roxanne went out to celebrate Naruto's victory and winning his first gym badge, with it ending up with May and Roxanne trying to one-up each other while Naruto remains as oblivious as ever for now. Max meanwhile ends up damaging the Pokénov, leading to him and Konohamaru going off to try and get it fixed, where they end up meeting Mr. Stone, president of Devon Corporation, not that they initially knew that. With it ending with both boys receiving a tour of the Devon Corporation and getting to invite their friends along, only for the tour to be interrupted when they see someone stealing parts and research papers. With the chase ending on the roof and the now revealed Team Aqua Grunt and Naruto fighting a little until the former escapes with the latter in pursuit, ending with Pico the Wingull being captured. Thankfully Naruto is able to save them. Roxanne then arrives with her Probopass and makes short work of the Aqua Grunt's Pokémon, along with revealing all gym leaders have different teams they use depending on the challenger's skill level. It then shows Matt ordering the captured grunt to be silenced and his Pokémon retrieved, along with a mystery person also observing our heroes and contacting the equally mysterious Madam CC. Next, Naruto learns of what happened after his departure, leading to him and May growing closer, with Naruto swearing to protect his new friends from anyone that'd try hurting them. Finally, our trio is departing from Rustboro, with Naruto and May receiving their own Pokénov Plus and Naruto getting a kiss on the cheek from Roxanne, much to May's jealousy and Naruto's surprise. Now with that out of the way, onto the Omake. Omake, a splendid trainer. Alright Tyrogue, use Mega Kick. Lee shouted. Tyrogue jumped into the air and delivered a kick to the wild Machop. Chop, now use Low Sweep, said Lee. Rogue. Tyrogue rushed Machop, and sent a low kick at its abdomen, knocking it down. Alright Lee, now throw a Pokeball. Tenten said, with Lee nodding and pulling out a Pokeball. Right, go Pokeball, Lee said, throwing the Pokeball at Machop, causing the fighting type to be sucked in. For a few moments, the Pokeball shook for a few moments until finally it gave off a ping, signaling a successful capture. Yes, I caught a Machop. Well done, Tyrogue. Lee cheered, smiling widely and giving his Pokémon a thumbs up. Tyrogue smiles at its trainer and returned the thumbs up. Way to go, Lee, said Tenten, smiling at her friend, while the man standing beside her nodded. Yes, well done Lee. You've shown great strides in your training, the man said. Thank you, Master Bruno, I couldn't have done it without you, said Lee, bowing to his and Tenten's mentor, Bruno, a member of the Indigo Plateau Elite Four. Lee and Tenten had met Bruno, not long after arriving in the Johto region and receiving their starters, Lee's being a Tyrogue and Tenten's being a Honedge. They had met Bruno, while Lee was training with Tyrogue, with Bruno happening to be nearby, training his own Pokémon. The Elite Four member had been intrigued to meet them, and after hearing of Lee's desire to become a Pokémon trainer that specializes in fighting types, while Tenten desired to be a Pokémon scientist mechanic, he had offered to take them on as his pupils. Both the former ninja had been eager and excited to be mentored by an Elite Four member, Lee even more so, given Bruno was also a fighting type specialist. It only made Lee even more determined to become the best fighting type trainer there is, to make his mentor proud. And you as well, Guy-sensei. I may not be able to fulfill my dream of becoming a splendid shinobi, but I swear I will become a fighting type trainer that you can be proud of. Lee mentally promised, as he thought of his first sensei. It was his new dream, to become a great Pokémon trainer. Not long after leaving Rustboro, Naruto had come out of his surprise of Roxanne's kiss and began walking beside May and Max. Though he had still been surprised, not expecting the gym leader to kiss him on the cheek like that. Thankfully, neither May nor Max said anything, with the three walking in silence down the route. After a while of walking though, May perked up when she saw something up ahead off to the side of the path. "Hey, what's that? Is that a Pokémon?" May said, getting Naruto and Max to look at what she saw. It was a Pokémon, a pink, feline Pokémon with a stumpy body and 4 short legs. On its face is a cream-colored, crescent-shaped marking. It has slit-like eyes and tufted ears with purple interiors. Its slender tail has a bulky pink section at the end, terminated by 3 pin-like structures with yellow ball-like tips. "Yeah, it is. I think that's a Skitty," said Max, recognizing what Pokémon it was. The Skitty was currently in the sun, and seemed to be enjoying the rays on its coat. "Ah, it's so cute," May cooed, pulling out her Pokénov Plus, while Naruto scanned it with his Pokédex. Skitty, the kitten Pokémon. Skitty will get completely caught up in pursuing any moving objects that catch its eye. Skitty. Gender, female. Ability, cute charm. Moves, sing, disarming voice, assist, double slap. Egg moves, locked, fake tears, wish. Oh, those are some good moves, and it's so cute. That settles it, I'm definitely catching that Skitty. May said, wanting to catch Skitty and knew it'd make a good addition to her team, along with in contests. "Let's go, Torchic," said May, letting Torchic to battle Skitty, while the kitten Pokémon also jumped up. Skit. Skitty looked around for what disturbed her relaxation, only to see Torchic and May in front of her, and realized what was going on. "Okay Torchic, use Ember," May said, with Torchic nodding and jumping into the air. Torchic. Torchic spat out a stream of embers at Skitty, who quickly jumped aside, dodging the attack. Skitty. Skitty opened her mouth and shot out a beam of purple hearts, accompanied by a loud shrieking voice. Torchic was unable to dodge the attack and was knocked out of the air, but was able to get back up. "Torchic use peck," said May. Torchic. Torchic charged Skitty and began pecking at her, before giving a final peck that sent Skitty tumbling back. "Now use Will-O-Wisp," said May. Sheik. Torchic sent a blue fireball at Skitty, burning the kitten Pokémon. Skit. Skitty flinched from the burns, before jumping towards Torchic, ready to hit her with double slap. Torchic dodge and then scratch, May said, with Torchic nodding, before jumping to the side, avoiding Skitty's tail. Torchic then jumped towards Skitty, and began scratching her with her feet, further damaging the Pokémon. Believing that Skitty had been weakened enough, May pulled out a Pokéball. "Alright, go Pokéball," said May, throwing the Pokéball at Skitty, with her being sucked in, once it made contact. For a few moments, May watched as the Pokéball shook, waiting to see if she successfully captured Skitty, or not. Finally, the Pokéball stopped moving and gave off a ping sound, making May smile widely. "Alright, I caught Skitty," May cheered, while picking the Pokéball up. Torchic. Torchic jumped up, happy to have helped her trainer catch another Pokémon. "Way to go, May," said Max. "Yeah, you've really improved, May, defeating and catching both Wurmple and Skitty. And I guarantee that they'll grow stronger, just like Torchic has," said Naruto, with Torchic holding her head up in pride, while May smiled at them both. "Thanks Naruto, and I couldn't have done it without your help," May said, knowing it was thanks to Naruto's help and training that she's gotten stronger. May then pulled out a burn heal and a potion, before letting Skitty out of her Pokéball. Skitty. Skitty looked up at her new trainer, curiously, while May knelt down and smiled at her. "Hi Skitty, it's really great to have you join my team, and I hope we'll be able to work together," May said, before healing Skitty of the burns and restoring her strength. Skitty. Skitty smiled at May and brushed up against her leg, making May's smile widen. "Glad to have you aboard, Skitty," said May, before returning Skitty to her Pokéball. "Well, let's get going, we still have a long way to go to Verdanturf," said Naruto, with May and Max nodding in agreement. Though just before they could start walking again, they were shocked, when Skitty's Pokéball suddenly opened, with the kitten Pokémon coming out. Skitty. Skitty started running around and chasing her tail. Is that normal?" May asked, not knowing Pokémon could come out of their Pokéballs on their own. "I don't think it is," said Naruto, not knowing this either, given none of his Pokémon have randomly left their Pokéballs. Not knowing what else to do, Mei simply returned Skitty to her Pokeball, with the trio now continuing on their way. Later, after some time, the three had soon arrived at a clearing, where they decided to take a break for lunch. With them letting out their Pokemon, so they could eat as well, with the others also meeting Skitty, before they all started playing together. Once lunch was prepared, Naruto set out the Pokemon food, with all of them quickly rushing to their food, while shielding it from Wurmple. All of them having quickly learned that the worm Pokemon ate a lot, and if they weren't careful, she'd devour their food, as well. But their relief, Wurmple was still happily eating her own food. "Hey Naruto, what did you put in Wurmple's food?" Mei asked. Given by now, Wurmple would have eaten all of her food and tried eating the other Pokemon's food by now, while sometimes trying to eat hers, Naruto's and Max's food, as well. "Oh, I added some Enigma Berry to Wurmple's food, this way she'll be filled up by her own food, while the others can eat, without worry of Wurmple getting it," answered Naruto, surprising the two. "Wow, that's a great idea Naruto. But how do you know to use Enigma Berries?" Max asked, knowing Enigma Berries are very filling and would be good to put in Wurmple's food. "Actually Roxanne told me back in Rustboro, after we learned how much Wurmple can eat," answered Naruto. "Oh, you talked to Roxanne about it?" said Mei, now annoyed to hear Naruto had help from Roxanne. "Yeah, she also gave me some other tips on how to make the food for our Pokemon, and what's best for them. I also asked her if she knew the best food to give Pokemon that are used in contests," Naruto said, not noticing Mei's annoyance, with the coordinator being surprised at the latter information. "Why would you ask her that?" Mei asked, with Naruto looking at her, confused. "Why wouldn't I? I wanted to make sure I could help you in any way I could, when you enter contests, that includes helping make your Pokemon the best they can be, both with their moves and their appearance," Naruto said, surprising Mei. "You did that for me," Mei said. "Of course, I said I'd support you in becoming a coordinator, and that includes helping you and your Pokemon in any way that I can. Don't forget Mei, if you ever need me for anything, I'll always be there to help you," Naruto replied, while smiling at her. "Anything," repeated Mei, blushing lightly, as her mind drifted to a few different implications of what that could entail. "Yep, anything you want me to do for you, I will," answered Naruto. Though when Naruto looked at Mei and saw the growing blush on her face, his eyes widened as he realized just how his words might have sounded. "Kami damn it," Naruto thought, quickly looking away with his own blush. "Do anything I want," thought Mei, as her mind drifted farther and farther away to less innocent thoughts. Mei quickly banished those thoughts to the back of her mind and looked anywhere, but at Naruto, with her own blush. Seeing this, Max rolled his eyes at their behavior. It was very clear to him that Naruto had developed his own feelings for Mei at some point, during their time in Rustboro City, but neither of them have confessed to liking each other. Probably out of worry of ruining their friendship. He's able to jump in the way of a Seviper and let it bite his arm, along with jumping off a 50-story building to chase after a thief. But when it comes a girl he has feelings for, he's basically a preschooler with his first crush. Max thought dryly. Honestly, he's close to calling the others, just to start a betting pool, to see who will confess first. They all continued eating in silence, with Naruto and Mei slowly getting over their embarrassment from Naruto's words and phrasing. Once all of them were done, the three moved on to training their Pokemon. Mei was practicing with Wurmple and her moves, especially String Shot, something Mei could definitely see that being used in contests. She was also having Skitty practice her own moves to get a feel for them, and see how they could be used. She was also going over the notes Janet and Chaz gave her, to see the details of the different rounds of contests. "Hey Mei," Naruto said, while walking up to her, getting the coordinator's attention. "Hey Naruto, what are you doing over here?" asked Mei. "Well, I promised to help you, and I intend to keep that promise. So, what do you need that I can help with?" Naruto asked, while sitting next to Mei, with the girl looking at him in surprise. "But don't you want to train your own Pokemon?" Mei asked, while thankful for Naruto's offer, she also didn't want him to end up neglecting his own training. "Don't worry, I have a couple shadow clones training with them right now. Besides, I also plan to start my own personal training, as well," Naruto replied, knowing he'll need to get stronger as well, if they ever ran into any missing nin from the elemental nations. Well, alright. Right now, I'm looking over the notes from Janet and Chaz. Mei said, while smiling at Naruto in thanks. Later. Okay, ready Torchic? Mei asked, while looking at her starter, who nodded in determination. After looking over the notes from Janet and Chaz, Naruto and Mei had come across combos, where a coordinator uses two or moves to create a beautiful affect, perfect for coordinators to use during contests. Naruto had suggested a combo Mei could try to do with Torchic, with Mei liking his suggestion and explained it to Torchic. Now they were going to try it out to see how it goes. Okay Torchic, use Attract. Mei said. Torchic winked, while creating several hearts that spun around her. Now, use Will-O-Wisp on the hearts, said Mei, with Torchic covering the hearts with blue flames, turning them into blue flaming hearts. Wow, it's working, Mei thought, excited and amazed at the display. Unfortunately, Torchic started struggling to maintain both moves at once, before she lost her concentration. The result was the flame-covered hearts to go flying everywhere. Seeing this, Naruto quickly grabbed Mei and pulled her out of the way, to avoid getting hit. Though not expecting this, Mei lost her balance and fell backwards into Naruto, causing them both to end rolling across the ground. Thankfully, they stopped rolling, with Naruto laying on the ground, with Mei on top of him. I think we should work on Torchic's concentration first, before trying more combos. Given she is trying to use more than one move at the exact same time. Naruto said, realizing that could have been a problem. Yeah, but at least it worked for a little bit, said Mei, pleased that combo was able to hold for a little bit, before failing. Opening their eyes, Naruto and Mei's faces immediately turned bright red, when they saw how close they were, along with the position they were in. Mei laying across Naruto, with her hands on his chest and one of her legs pressing against his groin, thankfully not hard enough to cause any pain, while Naruto's hands were holding Mei's butt. Realizing how compromising this was, the two quickly separated from each other and looked anywhere but at each other. Mei has a really nice butt, Naruto thought. Despite himself, he couldn't help but admire how it felt in his hands. Wow, Naruto is really toned, in more places than one, thought Mei, while rubbing her leg, having felt Naruto use his own, harden, for a moment. I'm really sorry Mei. I just saw the combo fail, and didn't want you getting hurt. Naruto said quickly, while covering his slip-up. Oh it's erect perfectly fine. No harm done, replied Mei, while blushing at her own slip-up. Meanwhile, Torchic rolled her eyes, while watching the two with a dry expression. She was honestly thankful that she was a Pokémon, so she didn't have to worry about these complicated human mating rituals. After standing up, Naruto and Mei took a few moments to calm down their hormones, before looking at each other. We're going to have to be more careful, when practicing your combos. We're just lucky the attacks weren't too dangerous, Naruto stated, with Mei nodding in agreement. Yeah, Torchic, are you ready to try again? Mei asked. Torchic nodded, wanting to keep trying, until they got better at it. With that they continued practicing different combos, along with working on Torchic's concentration. While the combos would still sometimes fail, the more Torchic used them, the longer they held up, which was good progress. Though not long after, Naruto felt one of his clones dispel, showing that his Pokémon had completed their own training. Hey Mei, my team's finished their training, and I'm gonna start my own. Will you be alright continuing on your own? Naruto asked, as Mei nodded at him with a smile. Yeah, I think we've got it down to where we can handle it on our own. Thanks for the help, Naruto, replied Mei. Nodding, Naruto went to where his Pokémon were, and returned them to their Pokéballs. Once that was done, Naruto created 60 shadow clones, 10 to practice water-style ninjutsu, 10 to practice earth-style ninjutsu, 10 to practice wood-style ninjutsu, 10 to practice non-elemental jutsu like the Rasengan, 10 to practice clan jutsu, and the final 10 was to spar against. Come at me with everything you have, Naruto said, wanting to push himself to his limits, wanting to get as strong as he can, as quickly as he can, so he'll be able to protect his friends from whatever threats they encounter. No matter what, I will protect my precious people, Naruto swore, as his clones charged at him. What Naruto didn't notice was on a nearby tree, a crow was watching him intently, before it suddenly dissolved into a group of smaller crows that flew away. Galar region. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Galar region, Itachi Uchiha opened his eyes and hummed, pleased to see how hard Naruto is pushing himself. Perhaps Naruto will be able to do what Sasuke ultimately couldn't. Itachi muttered to himself, while taking a moment to mourn his brother, before turning his attention to Kisame. His partner was currently burning the bodies of some missing nin, that were arrogant enough to attack them, just to stroke their own egos, by killing them. Thinking they had a chance with their numbers, only to be cut down by the 2S rank missing nin. Naruto will also have his own share of people that'd like to see him dead, for one reason or another. Itachi noted mentally, knowing Naruto will have his own target on his back. Especially if he's found by Konoha refugees that blame him for what happened, because of him running away from his duty as Konoha's Jinchuriki. Or just for holding the Kyuubi, and potentially his heritage, since Minato and Kushina had enemies not just outside of Konoha, but in it, as well. And that's not counting any missing nin he may encounter, also. There's also that prison break, that happened during the Konoha crush, given how all of Konoha's ninja had been called in to fight the Suna and Odo forces, giving the prisoners a chance to escape. Kisame noticed Itachi sit across from him, while idly turning the fish that was roasting over the fire, as well. The Akatsuki isn't going to exist much longer, with the war going on in the nations. The others will either die, or defect and flee here for new opportunities. That is, if Madara and Pain haven't hunted them down and killed them for their defection, already. Kisame stated, having known the moment they left the elemental nations, it was unlikely they'd ever return. True. That means we are no longer partners, so if you wish, you may leave and go off on your own, Kisame. Said Itachi, knowing they were no longer obligated to work together, and could do whatever they wanted, now. You can't get rid of me that easily, Itachi. Kisame replied, having taken a liking to traveling with the Uchiha. Itachi said nothing, but simply gave a short nod. Once the fish was done, the two missing nin ate in peace. At the rate Naruto is going with his training, he should be ready in 3 years' time. Perhaps even less than that, once he starts pushing himself even harder, when he starts encountering missing nin. Itachi thought. Hoenn region. Back in the Hoenn region on Route 116, Mizuki suddenly sneezed, with Tsubaki looking at him in worry. Mizuki, are you alright? Are you getting sick? Tsubaki asked in concern, having fled with Mizuki, after he broke out of jail. I'm fine, Tsubaki, just a sneeze. Replied Mizuki with a kind smile. Alright, but let me know if you need anything. Said Tsubaki. Of course. Mizuki said, before scoffing quietly, when she looked away. Like I'd need from a weak-willed bitch, like you, except to use as a stress reliever. Mizuki thought, while sneering. Honestly, he couldn't believe that all it took was a few sweet words from her old academy love, and she's doing everything he says. Hell, she even hid the fact that he was a spy for Orochimaru, despite the fact that he was betraying their village for one of its most notorious missing nin. If it wasn't for the fact that she was useful to him, and good source of stress relief, Mizuki would have killed her already. But once I find that damn demon brat and kill it, then the stupid bitch will have run out of uses. Mizuki thought, scowling, before smiling sickly at all the ways he's imagined torturing Naruto, before killing the little bastard once and for all. Mizuki's attention turned up ahead of them, where his eyes widened, when he caught sight of Naruto, Mei and Max. Though he then gained a malicious smirk, as now he'd not only get to finally kill the demon brat, but make him suffer before killing him. Actually, Tsubaki, there is something I need you to do. Mizuki said, knowing he'll soon have his revenge on the demon brat. So, what did you think? Good. Yep, Mei has caught Skitty once again, before she and Mei begin working on her contest training, starting with practicing combos, only for their first attempt to almost blow up in their faces while also leading them to a rather compromising position. Afterwards Naruto then starts his own training, not knowing he was being watched before we go all the way to Galar where Itachi and Kisame are, with both knowing that the Akatsuki will soon be gone, with Itachi now observing Naruto to see if he can succeed where Sasuke couldn't. Finally we head back to Hoenn where we see Mizuki of all people and his loyal lapdog Tsubaki, with Mizuki catching sight of Naruto and company, and forming a plan to get his revenge. Now onto the Omake. Omake, Shadow Chimera. Well, this worked out better than I thought it would, thought Hirako, looking at the giant glass container that held his latest creation. A lot of things have happened, most of which Hirako never expected to happen in his life. The first, being that he had been forced to go through with performing his Chimera Jutsu, without being able to obtain Kakashi Hataki's Sharingan. But given with the war that was going to happen very soon, Hirako knew time was of the essence. But thankfully, Hirako was able to find a good substitute in the form of a Chinook clan member, he found, allowing him to use the complete ritual, before packing up his research and equipment, while leaving the elemental nations for the server regions. He had traveled to one of the lesser-known regions, known as Or, one with hardly any people in it, thankfully. This allowed Hirako to set up a new lab, without worry of any interferences, not that he had anything to fear from these people, given their lack of chakra. But he also didn't want the hassle of being hunted by the authorities. However, not long after he set up shop, Hirako had been approached by an organization, known simply as Cypher. At first, he had considered simply killing them all, that is until their leader told him what Cypher's plan was, and it intrigued Hirako, to say the least. Being able to physically close the doors to the hearts of Pokémon and turn them into much darker and unrestrained versions of themselves. It definitely piqued Hirako's interest. So, after some debating and bartering, along with trading research, samples and test subjects, Hirako agreed to join Cypher. Of course, he didn't actually have any loyalty to the organization, and at the first sign of weakness, or seeing it was a lost cause, Hirako was leaving. But for now, he had a new project to work on. Possibly his greatest one which will give birth to the ultimate Shadow Chimera. Isn't that right, Shadow Lugia? Hirako thought, gazing at his creation, before its solid red eyes snapped open. Why didn't I get some guide to help identify all these berries? Naruto thought, while picking up different kinds of berries from trees and bush, with some he recognized, and others he didn't. It made him wish he had thought to get something back in Rustboro, to help identify all the different berries and what they do. Given Naruto knew some berries restored health, others healed Pokémon of status effects, and some he didn't even know what they did. Currently, Naruto was away from May and Max, with the siblings back at their temporary campsite. 2 days have passed since Naruto helped May start working on combos with Torchic. Since then, she's managed to learn a few with Torchic being able to hold them for longer periods of time. She's even started working with Skitty on creating combos, which was a lot harder, given how easily distracted Skitty could get. Naruto has also kept up his own training, both his ninja training and his Pokémon's training. And it just made Naruto all the more grateful for Shadow clones, given he's gotten much stronger than he was before, and learning plenty of jutsu in just a few days. Though that didn't mean he's slacked off, if anything, Naruto's pushing himself even harder, not wanting to grow complacent or stagnant. Suddenly, Naruto was pulled from his thoughts, when he heard someone screaming, making his eyes widen. Someone's in trouble, Naruto thought, quickly sealing away the berries he's collected, before running off to where the scream came from. Running through the trees, Naruto soon arrived and saw a woman being assaulted by muggers. Not if I have anything to say about, thought Naruto, while rushing in to save the woman. Though what Naruto didn't notice in his haste to save what he thought was a helpless woman, was the fact that the woman and muggers all possessed chakra. With May and Max, what do you think's keeping Naruto? He should have been back by now, May said, since she doubted it'd take this long to collect berries. Relax May, I'm sure he's fine, or maybe he saw a new Pokémon that he wanted to catch. Replied Max, looking at his Pokémon and seeing how much longer it'd take them to reach Verdanturf, along with what's between here and there. Maybe, May muttered, still worried, and feeling like something was wrong. However, May's attention was turned towards Max, when she heard him cry out, with her eyes widening, when she saw Mizuki standing over her unconscious brother. Max, May cried out in fear, only for Mizuki to appear behind her and grab her around the neck. Not so fast girlie, Mizuki sneered, as May struggled against him. Let me go, shouted May, as she swung her arms in an attempt to hit him, before throwing her elbow back, catching Mizuki right in the eye. You little bitch. Mizuki growled, before punching Mei in the stomach, hard enough to knock her out. Holding his eye, Mizuki growled in anger, swearing he'll pay the bitch back for it, and makes sure that the demon brat sees. With Naruto. Are you alright? Naruto asked, helping the woman up, after having dealt with the muggers, who were now unconscious. Yes, thank you, young man. I don't know what would have happened if you didn't show up, when you did. Said the woman, with Naruto smiling and nodding. No problem, glad I could help. I'll call Officer Jenny, and she'll come pick these guys up. Said Naruto, pulling out his Pokémon Plus and going to the call function. Though before Naruto could call Officer Jenny, his body tensed up, before quickly turning around and grabbing the woman's arm, before kicking her legs out from under her. After making sure the woman was restrained, Naruto grabbed what she was about to stab him with, and saw it was a Senbon needle dripping with some unknown poison. Realizing that he had been tricked, Naruto looked to the muggers, only to see them break apart into piles of rubble, showing they were just Earth clones. What the hell is going on? Naruto demanded, glaring at the woman, now angry at being tricked or lured into a trap, with Tsubaki smiling tauntingly at him. I was just supposed to keep you away from your friends, while Mizuki took them. The poison was just a way to weaken you, but I know Mizuki is strong enough now, to where it's not needed. Said Tsubaki, with Naruto's eyes widening at hearing Mizuki's name. That bastard. Naruto thought, angered that Mizuki dared to kidnap his friends. The darker part of Naruto now wishing he had killed the bastard, when he had the chance. Where are they? Growled Naruto, his eyes glowing red, while his hand moved to Tsubaki's throat. Just west of here. Tsubaki gasped, before vanishing in a puff of smoke, showing it was just a shadow clone. Now even angrier, Naruto took off running to where Mei and Max were, while swearing if Mizuki lays a hand on either them, he will correct his mistake of not killing him. Later, with Mei and Max. Mei and Max groaned as they woke up, with their eyes snapping open when they found themselves in what looked like a shed. Even worse, was that they were both tied up and gagged, before taking notice of Mizuki and the real Tsubaki, with Mei taking a certain pleasure in seeing the black eye Mizuki had. The two kidnappers soon saw that their hostages were awake, with Mizuki smiling, kindly, at them. Well, look who's finally awake, glad you're both awake. It'll make it that much better, when I can bring that damn demon brat here, and finally kill him. Mizuki taunted them with a sneer, with Mei and Max struggling even harder against their bindings, while glaring at him. Seeing this, Mizuki decided to humor them and remove the gags. I don't know who you are, but just looking at you, I can tell you're crazy. Max shouted, while glaring at Mizuki. Yeah, I don't know what your problem is, and I frankly don't really care, but Naruto isn't a demon. Said Mei, figuring that's who Mizuki was talking about, when he said, demon brat. Oh please, like a little shit and stupid bitch, like you two, know anything. He is a demon by being the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Mizuki scoffed, with the siblings glaring harder at the insults, though also confused about the latter part. Seeing their expressions, Mizuki smiled wickedly at the chance to break the demon brat even further. Oh, he didn't tell you, how expected of the demon, keeping its true nature hidden. It all happened 13 years ago, when the Kyuubi no Yoko attacked our village, Konoha. It attacked and nearly destroyed the village, while killing dozens, if not hundreds of people. It wasn't until the Yondaime Hokage stopped the Kyuubi and sealed away into a newborn infant, that little bastard, Naruto. Mizuki revealed, while enjoying the look of shock on their faces. Of course, the village didn't learn about the demon brat's true nature, until 4 years later. When we finally learned the truth, we made sure to ignore and isolate the brat, making sure he knew he wasn't wanted. Some of us were even lucky enough to put the Kyuubi brat in his place, making sure he never forgot how beneath us he really was. Unfortunately, that senile old bastard, the Sandaime Hokage, put a stop to that not long after it began. Which was a shame, as beating that little bastard into the ground was my favorite pastime. Mizuki said, while laughing sickly at the fact that Naruto never once knew his old academy teacher was one of his most avid attackers. Mei and Max were shocked, saddened and horrified to hear this, and what Naruto had gone through, when he was younger. Though it quickly turned to disgust and hatred towards Mizuki, that he's actually laughing at having beat up a child. You're sick. And Naruto isn't a demon, the only demons are people like you, that'd attack an innocent child. Mei said, while glaring at Mizuki. Yeah, and you're even stupider than I thought, since if Naruto was this QB thing, then he would have killed you long ago for abusing him. Max added. This caused Mizuki to stop laughing and scowl at them in anger, especially Mei for daring to call him a demon. When he was making sure the demon brat knew his place. Mei screamed in pain when Mizuki suddenly smacked her across the face. You little bitch. I'm gonna enjoy bringing the QB brat's beaten body here, and then force him to watch as I use that pretty little body however I want. Mizuki sneered, while leering at Mei before ripped the top part of her shirt open, revealing some of her white undershirt, with Tsubaki grimacing at Mizuki's actions but not moving to stop him. After all, she had already defected from Konoha, when she left the village with him during the Konoha crush, once Shukaku appeared in the village. And now have left the elemental nations altogether, so they could start a new life in Server, once they've finally killed the QB. With everything and everyone she had left behind, and can now never return to, Mizuki was all that she had left. Mei recoiled in fear at that, and Mizuki's intentions towards her. But she managed to regain her nerve, refusing to show this guy she was scared, before headbutting Mizuki right in the face. "Ah, my fucking nose," Mizuki shouted, holding his now broken and bleeding nose. Tsubaki glared at Mei for injuring Mizuki and moved to attack her, only for Mizuki to stop her. "No, she'll get what's coming, but only after I drag the demon here, and make him watch," said Mizuki, wanting Naruto to see his friends be tortured, before he dies. The two then looked outside, where they heard one of their alarms go off, showing Naruto had arrived. Perfect, Mizuki thought sinisterly, before leaving. Mizuki ran through the trees, arriving in a clearing, just as Naruto appeared. Seeing his former teacher turned traitor, Naruto scowled in anger, using every ounce of willpower he had from not beating Mizuki half to death. "Mizuki, let Mei and Max go, they have nothing to do with this," Naruto said, wanting his friends safe, before he takes care of Mizuki and Tsubaki. "Huh, they got involved the moment they chose to befriend a worthless demon, like you. Besides, now I'm gonna pay that bitch back for my eye and nose." Mizuki scoffed, still angry over Mei's hits, with Naruto smirking at hearing this. "I don't know, I'm pretty sure they're improvements. Then again, Mei always did have a great sense of fashion," Naruto taunted, with Mizuki snarling in anger, before charging towards Naruto in a blind rage. Mizuki swung his fists and legs at Naruto, with the Uzumaki dodging all the strikes, while taunting the man. "Come on, I already beat you before, and that was before I started training seriously. Save yourself the embarrassment and just get lost," said Naruto mockingly, with Mizuki screaming in rage at being talked down too. "Don't you dare mock me, QB brat," Mizuki shouted, before gasping when Naruto slammed his knee into his stomach, before delivering a spin kick that sent Mizuki flying into a tree. "This is just sad. Here, I'll give you one more chance, let Mei and Max go, and then get the hell out of my life," Naruto said coldly, with Mizuki glaring at him in pure hatred. "I'll fucking kill you, and I'll do it with this," screamed Mizuki, while pulling out the potion given to him by Orochimaru. Drinking it, Mizuki suddenly bulked up and gained tiger-like stripes. Naruto was surprised by this, having never seen such a transformation before, given how he was unconscious when Sasuke used the curse mark. But soon, Mizuki transformed further, now looking like a bipedal, humanoid tiger. "Ahahaha. Yes. With this power, I'll finally kill you, demon," Mizuki shouted, while smiling madly, before vanishing in a burst of speed, surprising Naruto, only for him to grunt in pain, when Mizuki reappeared and smashed his fist into his head, sending Naruto flying back. Naruto didn't have time to get up, before Mizuki grabbed him by the leg and threw him through a tree, with Naruto groaning. Having not expected the sudden increase in strength and speed. He then grunted, when Mizuki wrapped his hand around his throat, and slammed him into a tree. "Yes, this is how it should be, demon brat, you being put in your place by your betters. How's it feel, demon, knowing I'm better than you? Huh, how's it feel?" Mizuki said dementedly, while slamming Naruto into the tree, repeatedly. "Ah, if you're gonna kill me, then kill me. But for the love Kami, shut the fuck up," said Naruto, having gotten sick of hearing this guy's voice spouting the same shit he's heard for years. Honestly, Naruto thought that they should seriously get new material. Oh, don't worry, you'll die. But not before I make you watch as I torture those brats you call your friends. I'm gonna enjoy breaking every bone in the little shit's body, before making him eat his own fucking glasses, then tearing his eyes from his damn skull. And the girl, I'll especially enjoy making you watch as I rape that nice body over and over again, until she's begging for more. Maybe I'll even force her brother to rape her, before crushing his skull in my hands. Ahahahahaha. Mizuki laughed in a deranged manner. What he didn't notice, was the fact that Naruto had lost all traces of humor on his face, with his eyes now being blood red with slit pupils, full of rage and bloodlust at hearing what Mizuki was going to do to his friends. You shouldn't have said that. Naruto muttered, lowering his head. Oh, and why not QB brat? Mizuki taunted, not seeing Naruto moving his hand to where the executioner's blade was sealed. Because now, I'm going to enjoy this a lot more than I should, said Naruto. Then before Mizuki could react, Naruto had unsealed the executioner's blade and cut Mizuki's hand off, causing the man to step back and roar in pain at the loss of his hand. Naruto, meanwhile, fell on his feet, while prying Mizuki's severed hand off his neck. Turning to glare at Naruto and attack him again, Mizuki recoiled in fear when he saw Naruto's red eyes. What made him step back in fear was rather than the burning rage they're normally associated with. Instead, they were now filled with a cold, detached fury. One that honestly disturbed Mizuki more than if they were filled with rage. Suddenly, Mizuki fell to his knees screaming in pain when Naruto cut off his other hand, as well. Though Naruto didn't stop there, slicing off Mizuki's left foot, then his right foot causing the man to fall to back, and desperately try to crawl away in terror. But Naruto didn't let him get far, as he began cutting Mizuki's body on his arms, legs, chest, back, everywhere, while holding himself back from killing the man. What's worse, is that Naruto was unconsciously channeling the Kyuubi's chakra into the sword, cauterizing the wounds, ensuring Mizuki didn't bleed out. Finally, Naruto stopped, with Mizuki whimpering in both pain and fear as he looked at Naruto. What really terrified Mizuki was that Naruto's eyes were no longer red, but instead a cold, icy blue, holding a gaze just shy of a manslayer's. Only for Mizuki's fear to triple, as he saw the executioner's blade glow red with the Kyuubi's chakra as it absorbs his blood, before the handle extended while the blade folded back, before a blade of crimson red energy emerged from the opposite side, forming a scythe. Mizuki didn't even get to finish speaking, before Naruto swung his scythe, decapitating the man, with a look of fear forever etched onto his face. Naruto didn't even give Mizuki's corpse a second glance, as he followed his footsteps to where Mei and Max were being held. Once he arrived, Naruto didn't react as Tsubaki rushed out and attacked him, since if Naruto was here, that meant Mizuki was dead. Though before she could get close, Naruto swung his scythe, cutting her diagonally across the chest, not deep enough to kill her, but enough that she'll die without any help. Naruto kicked Tsubaki down, looking at her with disinterest, before holding his scythe's blade at her throat. Meanwhile, Mei and Max watched scared and worried from how Naruto is acting, not like their friend, not like the person Mei loves. This isn't Naruto, Mei said fearfully, not wanting to see Naruto acting like this. You heard what the guy said, what Naruto went through as a kid. Is it really a surprise he might have some mental instabilities? Said Max, knowing anyone who went through what Naruto did, would have more than a few problems mentally, even more so, if no one was there to help him through it. This only made Mei's horror grow even more, remembering how Naruto acted after learning about whatever happened to his old home, and now this happened. If something wasn't done, then she knew Naruto might go down a path he couldn't come back from. Quickly struggling against her bindings, Mei eventually managed to make them come loose enough to take them off. Untying Max's enough for him to escape, Mei ran outside, just as she saw Naruto raise his scythe to kill Tsubaki. Naruto, don't! Mei screamed, wrapping her arms around him from behind, making Naruto pause. Please, please stop. This isn't you, I know it isn't, Mei begged with tears in her eyes, wanting him to go back to the way he was. Naruto began shaking as his eyes lost the killing edge, while he dropped his scythe, which turned back into the executioner's blade. He then fell to his knees with tears in his eyes as well, before he started crying. Not out of sadness and trauma for what he's done, as he's already shown to lack of remorse for killing. But because May and Max saw him like that and knew that Mizuki probably told them about the Kyuubi, as well. Now they'll be afraid him, and maybe even hate him, just like everyone else who knew, and he'll be alone again. It's okay, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, no matter what. May said, holding Naruto close as she comforted him. Yeah, we aren't leaving you behind, said Max, coming out of the shed, after getting the ropes off him. You aren't? Naruto asked. No, we're still your friends, and we'll always be here, said May, Naruto crying more tears at her words. Only rather than being tears of sadness, they were now happy tears, now that he knew they weren't going to leave him. He and May weren't even embarrassed about holding each other close, due to how emotional they currently were, along with not having the energy for it. After taking a moment to collect himself, Naruto and May separated and stood up, with Naruto sealing away his sword. Guys, what about her? Max asked, looking at Tsubaki, who had now fallen unconscious. She's dead anyway, no matter what we do. At this point, killing her would be a mercy, answered Naruto, having been aware enough to know that Tsubaki will die from her wounds, soon enough. He also wasn't feeling very merciful at the moment, still remembering how she tricked him. While unnerved by that, May and Max also couldn't really feel sorry for Tsubaki, given how she just stood aside, despite knowing what Mizuki planned to do to them. With that, the trio took their leave, leaving Tsubaki to either die from her wounds, or for the carnivorous Pokémon and animals in the forest. Later, Naruto, May, and Max walked down the road in silence, no one really having anything to say after what happened. Naruto, are you alright? Like really alright? May asked, concerned for him, with Naruto glancing at her. What happened with Mizuki and Tsubaki? It scared me, because I almost lost myself, nearly becoming something darker. Not only that, but I've already failed to keep my promise of keeping you safe, Naruto said, with May immediately putting a hand on his shoulder. You shouldn't blame yourself for what happened. You couldn't have known we'd get kidnapped by your old, crazy academy teacher, and his sheep of a fiancé. Besides, the fact that you showed up to save us, shows you're still keeping your promise, May said, assuring him he wasn't at fault, though Naruto still blamed himself and felt that he failed to keep his word. Combined with what he did, what he almost became. Right there, Naruto swore he will never kill someone ever again, unless he had no other choice. Unfortunately, the Raijin and the Executioner's blade weren't most ideal weapons for such a promise. At least with the Raijin, he could stun people with it. But the Executioner's blade, that was made for killing. Not only that, but Naruto felt it was changed, becoming darker, with the new ability to turn into a scythe. I'm not sure if I could even use it, without becoming like that, again, Naruto thought, feeling like whatever happened to the sword, it was now something that hungered for blood. Eventually, after a while, the trio arrived at a feudal-style village. Looking around, they saw the place seemed to be setting up for a festival of some sorts. Finding a flyer, Naruto grabbed it to see what was going on. There's a Pokémon battle tournament happening here in a few days, Naruto said, getting May and Max's attention. Really? May asked, intrigued by this. Yeah, it says the reward is TM case, with 3 pre-selected TMs already in it. Though it also says either a gym badge or a contest ribbon is required to enter, Naruto said, with May's mood dropping, since she hasn't gotten a contest ribbon yet. Are gonna enter, Naruto, said Max, with Naruto nodding. Yeah, since a TM's case would be useful to have, since I'll have a proper place to put them, without worrying about them getting broken in my bag. Along with the 3 that'd go to the winner, Naruto said, knowing it'd be good to have a TM case, especially so he didn't have to worry about breaking the one Roxanne gave him. With that, the 3 went to where contestants could sign up, with Naruto registering himself. Afterwards, the trio began exploring the village, and seeing the sights. Hey, I'm gonna go look around on my own, Max said, wanting to do his own exploring. Are you sure that's safe, Max, given what just happened? Besides, this seems like a good place for ninja to hide in plain sight. Mei said, worried of her brother going off on his own after what happened, with Naruto also being worried. Relax, would ya? I doubt we'll run into hostile ninja everywhere we go. Besides, we shouldn't get paranoid to the point of being on edge all the time, expecting to be attacked. Max said, knowing it'd be counterproductive for their journey, if they're constantly expecting to be attacked. Yeah, I guess. Mei muttered, knowing her brother was right, but she still didn't like it. I'll send some shadow clones to follow him from the shadows. That way, if there are ninja here, he'll be protected. Said Naruto. Alright, fine. Max agreed. After finding a spot to create his clones, Max walked off, with the clones following him from the shadows. Naruto and Mei, meanwhile, continued exploring the village, eventually hearing that the festival will be held after the tournament. Hearing this, the two decided to go shopping for more appropriate clothing for a festival. We should probably stock up on supplies while we're here, since it might be a while before we reach another town or village. Naruto suggested. Yeah, good idea, replied Mei. Later, Naruto and Mei walked through the village, having finished their shopping and were now simply looking around. Though one shop caught Naruto's attention, when he saw it was a blacksmith. What is it, Naruto? Mei asked, looking at the blacksmith shop. Nothing, it's just strange to see a blacksmith. I didn't think anyone in server would need weapons like that, said Naruto. Now curious, the two walked over and entered the shop, seeing a man behind the counter. Can I help you too? He asked. Before Naruto could respond, he stiffened when he felt that the man had chakra. You have chakra, stated Naruto, narrowing his eyes, while Mei was put on edge after hearing this. Yeah, and so do you, kid. The man retorted, rolling his eyes as Naruto got ready for a fight. Oh, relax, kid. I wasn't a ninja, I'm a blacksmith from Takumi village. I just make weapons, I don't use them, said the blacksmith, with Naruto and Mei relaxing slightly at hearing this. What are you doing here in server? Questioned Naruto. What else, starting over, away from the elemental nations. Takumi village long since evacuated to the regions of server, since none of us desired to get caught in another ninja war. Said the man, before looking Naruto with a critical look in his eyes. What? Naruto said, starting to feel uncomfortable. Nothing, I'm just not used to seeing such growing darkness in someone your age. Be careful, kid, that kind of darkness can easily swallow you up, if you aren't careful. Said the blacksmith, with Naruto tensing again at his words. How did you know that? Questioned Naruto. Back in Takumi, I saw plenty of ninja and samurai come into my shop, looking for weapons. I've seen all different types of people, and I know the signs of someone turning into a manslayer. Said the blacksmith, with Naruto flinching at his words, knowing they were true. Is there a way to stop it? Naruto asked, hoping this guy might be able to help him. Why would you want to stop it? Questioned the man, given most ninja and samurai would embrace their killer instincts. Because I swore, I'd never kill again, not unless there was no other choice. Would be able to help me stop myself from becoming like that? Naruto asked. The blacksmith looked at Naruto intently, briefly glancing at Mei, before looking back at the blonde. That really depends on you, kid. Most people that become a manslayer, stay one until the day they die. It's almost impossible to go back to the way you were, as it's not just something you can get rid of. Said the man, with Naruto looking down at that, his hope fading. But I do have something that could help you keep that oath. The man said, going into the back of his shop and returning with a sheathed sword. Here. It's called a sakabato, a reverse blade sword. It's designed so the edge of the blade is on the inside, rather than the outside, making it impossible to kill an opponent, unless you flip the blade. The man explained. Naruto unsheathed the sakabato and was amazed to see the edge of the blade was on the inside. How much? Naruto asked, knowing this would definitely help. It's won the house. Given blacksmithing is now more of a hobby than a career, since not many people here require a blade. Replied the blacksmith, surprising Naruto, before nodding in thanks, and sealing the sword away on his wrist. With that, Naruto and Mei exited the shop, before going to find Max. Once they found the boy, the three headed towards a hotel and booked a room, since there wasn't a Pokémon Center to stay at. all of them wanting to rest and be prepared for the tournament and the festival. So, what did you think? Good. Yep, Naruto was tricked by Tsubaki while Mei and Max were taken hostage by Mizuki, though not before Mei gave him a nice black eye. Naruto then realizes he's been tricked and learns what happened, before going off to save his friends, while Mei and Max learn about the QB sealed inside Naruto, along with how bad his life was growing up, with Mei also giving Mizuki a matching broken nose to go with his eye. It's then onto the fight between Naruto and Mizuki, with Naruto starting off strong only to be overwhelmed after Mizuki drinks his curse seal potion. But then he makes his last mistake and taunts Naruto of what he plans to do to Mei and Max, with Naruto giving into his darker urges and mutilates Mizuki, while also getting a new weapon by transforming the executioner's blade, before finally killing the fool. He then goes to save his friends while fatally injuring Tsubaki, but just before he can give the killing blow, Mei stops him in time, with Naruto being comforted by his friends. The trio then leave and soon arrive at a village where Naruto signs up for a Pokémon battle tournament along with meeting a blacksmith from Takumi village, who gives Naruto a Sakabato in order to keep his oath of never killing again, unless he had no other choice. Now onto the Omake. Omake, illusion artist. Yakumo sighed contently, as she sat on a beach in the Alola region. This is nice, isn't it, Smeargle? Yakumo said, smiling at her Pokémon, who nodded in agreement. Smeargle was idly dipping its tails into some paint, as it worked on its latest painting. So much has changed, thought Yakumo, thinking back on everything she's learned, and from Kurenai of all people. When Kurenai first showed up at her home, Yakumo had idly considered putting her under a genjutsu, to make her believe her organs were melting. That is until the woman came clean about everything, what she's done to Yakumo, along with some painful truths, including about the Edo. Which was now thankfully sealed away with a much better seal, courtesy of Jiraiya, before he left. Though while Yakumo was thankful for Kurenai telling her the whole truth, she still had mixed feelings on the woman, for everything she's done to her. But eventually, Yakumo just decided to wash her hands of both Kurenai and Konoha, now finally living her life how she wants to, and without any regrets. Even better, was her body being fully healed, thanks to Tsunade, who had luckily enough been in the Kalos region, also. A new start, a new world, and best of all, friends. Yakumo thought, while smiling. Hey Yakumo, come on, we're gonna be late for class. One of her friends called out to her. Okay, I'll be right there Lana. Come on Smeargle, Yakumo said, while getting up. Smeargle got up and followed after its trainer. Unknown to Yakumo, she was being watched another Pokémon, who watched her curiously. Naruto looked around in horror, as all around him was nothing but blood and bodies. What made it worse, was that they were all people he knew. No. Naruto thought, running around and hoping, begging, that they were still alive. But no matter who he went to, Iruka, Konohamaru, Moegi, Udon, Max, Roxanne, Mei, all of them were dead. Naruto's attention then turned to behind him when he heard footsteps behind him. Looking, Naruto saw a person wearing a black hooded cloak, with the hood pulled up, shrouding their face in darkness. Though what had Naruto's attention, was the fact that the person was also carrying a blood-soaked katana. It did not take long for Naruto to realize that this was the person responsible for this, and it made the Uzumaki angry, as he glared at the stranger. Why did you do this? Naruto demanded, only for the stranger to not respond, only tilt their head as if the question confused them, which only served to anger Naruto further. Answer me, shouted Naruto, pulling out a kunai and charging towards the stranger. Schling. Naruto gasped in shock and pain, when he suddenly found himself lying on the ground with the stranger's katana stabbed into his chest, while the stranger hovered over him. He cried out in pain, when they twisted their sword. Who are you? Naruto gasped in pain, with the stranger tilting their head again at his question, before raising a hand up to their hood and pulled it back, revealing their face. With Naruto being shocked and horrified when he saw himself. It was him, he was the one who did all this. The only difference between them is that rather than his normal blue eyes, the Kyuubi's eyes, or even the cold blue eyes he had, when he killed Mizuki and attacked Tsubaki. His doppelganger had dark, murderous golden eyes. The eyes of a manslayer. Just then, his counterpart pulled his sword out, before swinging it down at Naruto's neck. Not a moment later, Naruto's eyes snapped open as he woke up screaming, with Mei and Max immediately running into his room, not long after. Naruto. Naruto. It's okay, it was just a dream. Mei said, putting her hands on his shoulders, while Naruto looked around wildly, before finally looking at her, before hugging Mei closely. Worried that if he let go, she'd be dead, just like in his nightmare, along with everyone else. This made Mei and Max look at each other in concern, as this wasn't the first time Naruto had woken up like this, after having a nightmare. With it all starting since their encounter with Mizuki and Tsubaki. It worried the siblings, given the effect these nightmares could have on Naruto's already fragile mental state. After a moment, Max exited the room, with Mei staying behind to comfort Naruto. It's alright Naruto, whatever you saw wasn't really, it was just a nightmare. I'm here, Mei said softly, with Naruto calming down a little at her words and presence. After a few moments, Naruto had finally calmed down with the two separating from each other, with them falling into silence, neither sure what to say first. Is this about what happened? With Mizuki, and then with what that blacksmith said? Mei asked, not knowing the exact details of Naruto's nightmares, but could guess the reason behind them, with Naruto nodding at her words. Yes, I'm worried, that even with the Sakabato, that I'll still mess up and become something else, something dark and filled with bloodlust. Naruto said, since even with the Sakabato, he still had the Raijin and the Executioner's Blade, and what would he do if the Sakabato breaks or if he loses it? When he would need a weapon, he'd then have to use the other swords, increasing the chance of him killing someone. That won't happen Naruto, you aren't, nor will you ever become a monster. Because I know you, and I know you'd never let yourself fall into that darkness, not if you could stop it. And I'll make sure it doesn't happen, either. Mei said, refusing to give up on him. This made Naruto smile at Mei, nodding in thanks. He then got up and went to the bathroom to get changed and ready for the day, as well as the tournament. Later, Naruto, Mei, and Max walked into one of the Pokémon clinics in town, so Naruto could get his team rested and healed. The Uzumaki having wanted to get some last-minute training in before the tournament started, since he wanted to be prepared in case he faced any strong opponents that could give his Pokémon trouble. With the training having paid off, with Zigzagoon having learned Headbutt, Kirlia learning Hypnosis and Draining Kiss, Zorua learning Feint Attack, and Trico having unlocked Magical Leaf. They also worked on evolving Absorb into Mega Drain, so he could unlock Giga Drain, as well. Though Naruto figured that might have to wait until Trico evolves into Grovyle, which could possibly be soon. Given all the training Trico has done, along with his desire to keep pushing himself, as well. Plus, Naruto learned that starter Pokémon have been known to evolve quicker than other Pokémon, with the right training. And he's definitely been training his Pokémon as hard as he can. Now, Naruto wanted to get his team rested and healed before the tournament, now confident that they could handle the competition. Max, Mei, someone called out, getting the trio's attention. Looking, they saw it was a teen the same age as Naruto and Mei. He was a tall boy for his age, while having dark brown hair covered by a white beanie, along with a black headband with thin scarlet lines forming a half circle, and pale blue eyes. His attire consisted of a skin-tight red and black t-shirt, with an odd zipper on the collar, black and dark gray slim-fit knee-length shorts, a green backpack, and white and green slip-on sneakers. Though while Naruto was confused as to who this person was, Mei and Max were surprised, before smiling at seeing him. Brendan, the siblings said, while running up the now-named Brendan, with Naruto walking up as well, curious as who this guy is, and how he knew Mei and Max. Hey guys. It's been a while, hasn't it? Said Brendan, while smiling at the two. Yeah, it has. What's it been 3 months since you started your journey? Said Max. About that long, yeah. And check it out, I've already won 2 badges from the Rustboro City and Shantae Town gyms. Brendan said, showing them his badges, surprising Naruto that this guy already had 2 badges. Wow, that's amazing, said Mei, with Brendan nodding as he pocketed his badge case. Shantae Town, is that one of the lesser-known gyms? Max asked, since all regions had gyms outside of their respective main 8, except for Alola, who has their island challenge, they just weren't as well known for one reason or another. Yeah, like with the Moss Deep City gym leaders, the one there specializes in using psychic-type Pokémon. They definitely were tough battles to win, but my team came through in the end. By the way, who's your new friend? Brendan asked, while looking at Naruto, reminding May and Max of his presence. Oh right. Naruto, this is Brendan, he's a Pokémon trainer, like you, and is taking on the Hoenn League. He's childhood friend of ours, and the son of Professor Birch. He actually started his journey a few months before we did. Brendan, this Naruto Uzumaki, a fellow trainer that I met when I went to get my starter Pokémon in Littleroot, and we decided to travel together. May said, introducing the two boys, with Naruto and Brendan shaking hands. Hey, nice to meet you, Naruto, said Brendan, smiling at his fellow trainer, which Naruto returned a strained smile. You too, Brendan, replied Naruto, feeling slightly jealous at meeting an old friend of May's. Though now that he thought about it, he remembered seeing a few pictures of Birch and his wife with a boy that resembled Brendan, when he was staying at the lab. So, I'm guessing since you guys are here, you and Naruto are here for the tournament, right May? That also means you both have at least one badge, said Brendan, with May chuckling sheepishly. Actually, I'm not a trainer, I decided to become a coordinator and participate in contests. But Naruto does have the rock badge from Rustboro. May answered, with Brendan nodding at this, before facing Naruto. Then good luck in the tournament, Naruto, I hope to see you in the finals. But don't expect me to hold back, if we do battle, said Brendan smirking, which Naruto returned. Same to you, Naruto said. With that, Brendan waved to the three, as they went up to the desk, where Naruto handed over his Pokeballs, to get his Pokemon healed. Now he was even more determined to win this tournament. Later, the fourth match between Naruto and Joey will now begin. Trainers, please send out your Pokemon, said the referee, with Naruto standing across from his opponent, a young kid named Joey. Alright, let's go Zigzagoon, Joey said, throwing his Pokeball, with a normal Zigzagoon being sent out. Come on out, Zigzagoon, said Naruto, sending out his own Zigzagoon, surprising some people at the black and white Zigzagoon. Let the match begin, the referee said. Okay, Zigzagoon use sand attack, said Joey. Zagoon. Zigzagoon began kicking dirt towards Naruto's Zigzagoon, with him shaking his head at the sand getting in his eyes. Zigzagoon, use snarl in all directions, Naruto said, with Zigzagoon nodding as it opened its mouth. Zigzagoon. Zigzagoon unleashed multiple rings of black and purple energy in all directions. Zigzagoon dodge quickly, said Joey, Zigzagoon trying to move out of the way of the rings. Unfortunately, with Naruto having his Zigzagoon launch them in every direction, Zigzagoon was still hit. Okay, now use headbutt, Naruto said, with Zigzagoon narrowing his eyes, before rushing forward and using headbutt, only to end up missing, due its eyes still being affected by the sand attack. Zigzagoon use headbutt, said Joey. Zigzagoon. Zigzagoon charged forward and slammed its head into the Galarian Zigzagoon, knocking it back. Zigzagoon use Leer, said Naruto, with Zigzagoon shaking his head, before glaring at the opposing Zigzagoon with glowing red eyes, making the Zigzagoon shiver as its defense was lowered. Now jump into the air, and use Iron Tail, Naruto said, with Zigzagoon leaping into the air, with its tail glowing white. Zigzagoon, quick, jump as well and use headbutt again, Joey said. Zigzag. Zigzagoon quickly jumped into the air, after Naruto's Zigzagoon. Unfortunately for Joey's Zigzagoon, Naruto's was faster and quickly flipped in the air, slamming his tail straight into the opposing Zigzagoon's head, sending it flying back to the ground. Zigzagoon, said Joey, looking at his Pokemon in worry. Zigzagoon. Zigzagoon tried, standing up only to fall over with its swirls in its eyes. Zigzagoon is unable to continue, the winner is Naruto, the referee announced, with the crowd cheering at the battle. Zigzagoon return. Aw man, I knew I should have used my Rattata, Joey said, sighing at his loss. Alright, way to go, Zigzagoon, said Naruto, smiling at his Pokemon. Zigzagoon. Zigzagoon raised his paw, pleased at his victory and how much strong he's gotten since joining Naruto. Returning Zigzagoon to his Pokeball, Naruto left the field and walked over to Mei and Max. "Way to go, Naruto, I knew you could do it," Mei said, happy at his victory. "Thanks, but I still have 2 more opponents to face, and one of them could be Brendan," said Naruto, knowing he can't celebrate just yet. There had only been 8 contestants that entered the tournament, including Naruto and Brendan, so there were 4 matches in the first round. With the next round having 2 matches, and then the last 2 trainers would compete in the third and final round. The first 2 rounds were one-on-one matches with each trainer having 1 Pokémon each. While the final round would be a 3-on-3 match, with the winner being decided once all 3 of their opponents' Pokémon were knocked out. Naruto had also seen Brendan win his match with a Poochyena, and it made him wonder what other Pokémon the other trainer had in his team. Suddenly, Naruto was pulled from his thoughts when his name was called for his match. Going back to the field, Naruto saw his opponent was wearing a fancy dark blue suit that just screamed, "Rich," with an arrogant smirk. The 6th match between Naruto and Zachary will now begin. "Trainers, please send out your Pokémon," said the referee. "Let's go, Kirlia," said Naruto, sending out Kirlia. Coughing, "Show them your splendor," said Zachary, sending out his Pokémon, with Naruto raising brow at it, before scanning Coughing. Coughing, the poison gas Pokémon. Coughing hovers in the air, thanks to the poisonous gases it contains, which have a foul odor and can explode. Coughing is a spherical purple Pokémon with a cream-colored crossbones mark, just below its mouth, and vacant-looking eyes, along with numerous geyser-like protrusions covering its body. "Let the match begin," said the referee. "Kirlia use Psybeam," Naruto said. Kirlia unleashed a multicolored beam at Coughing. Coughing dodge, and then use Clear Smog, Zachary ordered, with Coughing flying out of the way of the Psybeam. Coughing inhaled deeply, before spewing out a stream of white smog towards Kirlia, damaging the psychic fairy Pokémon even more, due to poison types being effective against fairy types. Kirlia used Confusion to send Coughing flying into the air, and slam it back into the ground. Said Naruto, Kirlia nodding as his eyes glowed red, with Coughing being surrounded by the same red glow, before it was instantly sent flying into the sky, only to immediately come crashing back into the ground. Coughing's eyes became unfocused, as they started spinning around, showing it had been afflicted with confusion. Coughing used Tackle, now, said Zachary, with Coughing trying to focus on where Kirlia was. Coughing immediately charged towards where it thought Kirlia was, only to end up smashing into a pillar. Now Kirlia, use Psybeam once more, said Naruto. Kirlia once again fired a multicolored beam at Coughing, with this one successfully hitting it. Coughing slammed into another pillar, before falling to the ground with swirls in its eyes. Coughing is unable to battle, the winner is Naruto, said the referee. Tisk, Coughing returned, said Zachary, still holding his up, despite losing. We will now start the final match between Naruto and Brendan, declared the referee. Kirlia, you still good to keep going? Naruto asked, wanting to make sure Kirlia could keep battling. Kirlia nodded his head, still having enough strength to keep battling. Those were some pretty good matches, Naruto, and I can tell you've trained your Pokémon to their limits and worked to surpass those limits. Brendan complimented, being able to see how hard Naruto has trained his Pokémon, before smirking. But so have I. Let's go, Poochyena, Brendan said, sending out his Poochyena. Let the match begin, said the referee. Poochyena use Howl, and then charge Kirlia and use Bite, said Brendan. Poochyena threw its head up, and howled loudly, boosting its attack before rushing Kirlia with surprising speed, ready to bite down on him. Kirlia, dodge and use Growl, said Naruto. Kirlia jumped away from the attack, before unleashing a high-pitched cry making Poochyena flinch, while its attack buff was negated. Poochyena used Sand attack, Brendan said, Poochyena immediately kicking sand towards Kirlia, blinding him. Now use Dark Pulse, said Brendan. Poochyena opened its mouth creating a light purple orb surrounded in black and purple circles, before firing a beam of black and purple circles from the orb towards Kirlia. Kirlia dodged quickly, Naruto said, as Kirlia wiped at his eyes to get the sand out, before jumping away from the attack, only to still be grazed by Dark Pulse. Kirlia. Kirlia winced at the attack, doing a good amount of damage, but thankfully his fairy typing was able to keep the attack from being super effective. Now go in for another bite, Poochyena, Brendan said. Pooch. Poochyena charged forward and jumped at Kirlia, intent to bite down on him. Kirlia, use hypnosis now, said Naruto, as Kirlia managed to finally get the sand out of his eyes, before his irises glowed red. Poochyena froze as its eyes glowed red for a moment, before it fell over, falling asleep. Poochyena. Brendan cried out, hoping to wake up his Pokémon. Now use Draining Kiss, Kirlia, Naruto said. Kirlia nodded before approaching Poochyena, and kissing it on the head, with the dark type being surrounded by a red glow, before yellow lights entered Kirlia, restoring his health. Now keep using Draining Kiss, until Poochyena faints, Naruto said, knowing the rest of Kirlia's attacks wouldn't affect Poochyena, since dark types aren't affected by psychic types. Kirlia. Kirlia continued using Draining Kiss and absorbing Poochyena's energy, until finally, Poochyena fainted with swirls in its eyes. You did good, Poochyena, return, Brendan said, recalling Poochyena. Kirlia, return, said Naruto, recalling Kirlia as well. Alright, Tailo, let's do this, Brendan said, throwing out his second Pokémon. Tailo. Seeing the new Pokémon, Naruto quickly scanned it. Tailo, the tiny swallow Pokémon. Tailo has a fierce personality, never backing down, even against the most powerful opponents. Tailo is a small bird Pokémon with dark blue feathers. A red marking with pointed tips stretches from its chest to its forehead, and it has a white underside. It has narrow brown eyes and a short yellow beak. It has elongated wingtips and black feet with yellow talons. Each foot has 3 toes facing forward and 1 backward. 2 sharply pointed feathers form its tail. Okay Zorua, let's go, said Naruto, sending out his starter Pokémon. Zorua jumped around, smirking at the chance to show off his strength. Tailo, use quick attack and then use peck, Brendan said. Tailo immediately vanished in a burst of speed, before reappearing as it tackled Zorua, before repeatedly pecking him with its beak. Zorua, use scratch, said Naruto, Zorua's claws glowing, before he scratched Tailo and knocked it back. Tailo, fly into the air and use wing attack, said Brendan. Tailo flew into the air as its wings glowed white, before it dive-bombed towards Zorua. Zorua, dodge and then use feint attack, Naruto said. Zorua waited until Tailo was close enough, before jumping out of the way its wing attack, with Zorua then charging Tailo from the right. Tailo, dodge now, said Brendan, with Tailo flying up and away from Zorua's attack. Though Tailo was then confused when Zorua suddenly vanished and looked around for where he went. Only to be surprised, when Zorua reappeared on the opposite side of where he originally came from, and tackled Tailo. Tailo, go in for another wing attack, Brendan said. Tailo flew once more into the air, as its wings glowed again, before diving towards Zorua again. Zorua, use pursuit, said Naruto, with Zorua charging towards Tailo, with a black aura surrounding him. Zorua. Zorua leapt at Tailo, meeting its attack head with his own. The resulting collision triggered an explosion, blocking everyone's view of who won the impact. Though not a moment later, both Zorua and Tailo fell out of the smoke, both of them hitting the ground with swirls in their eyes. Tailo twitched from its spot on the ground. Zorua. Tailo, return and get some rest, Brendan said, recalling Tailo. You to Zorua, good job, said Naruto, recalling his knocked out Pokémon, as well. I gotta say Naruto, you're a really great trainer with some powerful Pokémon. But we'll see just how strong they are, against my own starter. Let's go, Grovyle, said Brendan, sending out his evolved starter. Grovyle, Naruto said, surprised at seeing the evolved form of Trico, before scanning the Pokémon. Grovyle, the wood gecko Pokémon. Grovyle is the evolved form of Trico and live deep within forests. Known as tree climbers, they jump easily from one tree to the next. Grovyle is a bipedal Pokémon. It is primarily green with a red underside. There is a belt-like green stripe across its belly. Grovyle's hands have 2 clawed fingers, and powerful legs with bird-like feet. Grovyle has 3 long leaves on its wrists, a large leaf on top of its head, and 2 tails that have a leafy appearance. Yep, I started my journey with a Trico, which has since evolved into Grovyle, and he hasn't let me down once. Right, buddy? Brendan said. Grovyle nodded his head, while ready to help his trainer win another battle. Alright Trico, let's do this, said Naruto, sending out Trico. Trico stood ready to battle, only to be surprised when he saw his opponent was a Grovyle. You have a Trico too. Well, this'll be interesting. Grovyle use quick attack, said Brendan. Grovyle quickly vanished in a burst of speed, being even faster than Tailo was, reappearing behind Trico and knocking him away. Trico, jump into the air and use Bullet Seed, said Naruto, Trico quickly righting himself, before leaping into the air rearing his head back. Trico. Trico unleashed a barrage of bullet seeds at Grovyle. Grovyle use Energy Ball, said Brendan, with Grovyle putting his hands together, forming a green energy sphere, which he then launched towards Trico, blasting through the bullet seeds, and impacting the pre-evolved grass starter. Trico fell to the ground, flinching at the impact, before quickly standing up, while panting lightly. Trico run towards Grovyle, and use Magical Leaf, said Naruto. Trico ran at his evolved form, before jumping up and spinning in a dill-like fashion, while unleashing several glowing green leaves from his body, that spun around him as well. Grovyle dodge, Brendan said, Grovyle jumping to the side, only to be surprised when Trico stopped spinning, while launching the leaves towards him, hitting him hard from point-blank range. Now use Absorb, Trico, Naruto said, with Trico nodding as he unleashed a red energy beam from his mouth that hit Grovyle, absorbing some of his energy, while restoring Trico's own. Grovyle use Fury Cutter, said Brendan, Grovyle crossing his arms, before pulling them apart with his arm leaves glowing red. Grovyle rushed Trico and began quickly slashing at him, with each successful hit making the next one deal double the damage, with the final slash sending Trico flying back and crashing into the ground, with the damage only being more effective, thanks to bug moves being strong against grass types. Trico, Naruto called out, worried for his Pokémon. Trico. Trico struggled to stand up, refusing to give up. Trico then looked up to see Grovyle standing across from him, staring down at him, challenging him to get back up, only to be knocked back down. Grovyle crossed his arms, as he looked down at Trico with a smirk. Seeing this, Trico clenched his fists, before forcing himself to stand up. Trico stood back up, ready to face Grovyle again. Then to everyone's surprise, Trico was surrounded by a bright blue glow, before he started growing and changing. Trico's evolving, Naruto said, surprised by this. When the glow vanished, in Trico's place was a second Grovyle, identical to Brendan's own, with the exception of a twig in his mouth. Grovyle stared down Brendan's Grovyle, now more than ready to take him down. Grovyle use Fury Cutter, again, Brendan said, with Grovyle's arm leaves glowing red again, before charging forward. Grovyle use Magical Leaf, said Naruto, with Grovyle releasing dozens of glowing leaves, before manipulating them to cover his arm leaves, forming multicolored, glowing extended blades, while charging forward as well. Both Grovyles met in the center of the field, and slashed at each other at the same time, before passing each other. For a moment, both Grovyle remained standing, before suddenly, Brendan's fell over with swirls in his eyes. Grovyle crossed his arms, and smirked victorious at defeating his adversary. Brendan's Grovyle is unable to battle, the winner of the tournament is Naruto. The referee declared, with the crowd cheering loudly at the incredible battle. You did good, Grovyle, Brendan said, smiling as he recalled his starter. Way to go Grovyle, cheered Naruto, as he smiled at his now evolved Pokémon. That was a great battle, Naruto, said Brendan, while holding his hand out, which Naruto shook. Yeah, it was. I hope we get to battle again, in the future, said Naruto, since it was definitely a tough battle. Definitely, but I don't intend to lose next time, Brendan said with challengingly smirk, which Naruto returned. And I intend to keep winning, stated Naruto, before looking to see the village leader step forward with the prize. Congratulations young man, on your victory. May I present to you, your prize. Your very own TM case, along with the TMs for Fire Punch, Ice Punch and Thunder Punch," said the village leader, shocking the two trainers at such powerful moves. "Wow, those will definitely come in handy," Naruto said, while grinning at now having 3 powerful moves to teach his Pokémon. "I'm sure they will. I hope to see you both at the festival later tonight, so until then," said the leader, while waving at the trainers. Later, after returning to their motel room, Naruto, Mei, and Max got ready for the festival that night. Though Naruto had been surprised when he saw Mei and how beautiful she looked in her outfit, along with her styled hair as well. Not long after they left, Max had gone off on his own, with some of Naruto's shadow clones watching him from the shadows. This was both to see festival for himself, and since he knew that Naruto and Mei would want some time alone. Once Max had left, Naruto and Mei had enjoyed spending time together, going to all the different booths set up with games or food. Mei was especially happy at being alone with Naruto on an unofficial date, with Naruto also being happy at spending time with Mei. Though they were interrupted, when Brendan, who was also dressed up for the festival as well, walked up to them. "Hey guys, how are you enjoying the festival?" Brendan asked. "It's been great," Naruto answered with a smile, which Mei shared, as she nodded in agreement. "What about you, Brendan?" asked Mei. "It's been really fun. I ran to Max earlier, he said you guys are heading to Verdanturf town, then going to Mavel, Slateport, and finally Dewford. Is that true?" Brendan asked. "Yeah, I'll be participating in the Pokémon contests held in Verdanturf and Slateport. While Naruto will get the gym badges from Mavel and Dewford," Mei answered. "Cool. I was also wondering if it'd be alright if I traveled with you guys to Mavel, since it'd be a good chance to get my badge there, as well," Brendan said. "That'd be great, we'd be happy to have you joining us, Brendan," Mei said, happy to have her old friend joining them. "Yeah, happy to have you," said Naruto with a strained smile, while suppressing his jealousy at Brendan traveling with them. "Great, thanks. Well, I'll let you get back to the festival, see ya," Brendan said, waving at them, before walking off. Though Brendan also had another reason for wanting to travel with the trio. He wasn't oblivious to the attraction between Naruto and Mei, and Brendan wanted to take the time to see what type of guy Naruto is. Given Brendan saw Mei and Max as his surrogate siblings, since they grew up together, and wanted to make sure that Naruto really is the right guy for Mei. But something told Brendan that he didn't have to worry about Naruto ever hurting Mei. If anything, he should be worried for anyone that tries hurting her, with Naruto around. "So, what did you think? Good. Yep, Naruto is still worried of the chance of him falling and being consumed by his own darkness even with the Sakabato, but we also see his friends will be there for him." We then see Naruto's team have learned some new moves along with meeting Brendan, a childhood friend of Mei and Max, and the son of Professor Birch. We then start off the tournament with Naruto being able to defeat his first 2 opponents before going against Brendan in a touch battle. Though this also leads to Trico evolving into Grovyle when it went against Brendan's own Grovyle, which also gave him the strength to win the match. Finally, it's the festival with Naruto and Mei going on an unofficial date, with Brendan also tagging along on their journey to Mavel. Now onto the Omake. Omake. Cats and dogs and bugs. This place isn't really that big, is it? Nothing here is really that big, either, Kiba said, looking around at Gaiden Port, the only known port in the Ore region. Well, from what we've learned, the Ore region isn't home to a Pokémon League, like many other regions. It could be considered more of a pit stop for people traveling to one of the larger and more well-known regions, or even a hiding spot for more unsavory characters, stated Shino, while pushing up his sunglasses. The 2 former members of Team 8 had arrived in Ore a few weeks ago. They had originally hoped that Hinata would come with them, wanting their team to stay together, but she had wanted to stay with her sister and cousin. At least until she and Neji could get their starter Pokémon, along with finding Hanabi a stable place to stay. Something neither of them could fault her for, given what's happened, so they had gone off on their own. When they had first read up on the server regions, Kiba had been excited at the prospect of catching Pokémon and battling, while Shino had been intrigued at all the different types, particularly bug-type Pokémon. Though when they had arrived in the Ore region, Kiba had been disappointed at how lackluster it was, When compared to some of the other regions, even worse was that there were hardly any cities or towns. Not to say it wasn't all bad, with both boys having gotten their starter Pokémon. With Kiba having gotten a Growlithe, who got along very well with Akamaru, while Shino chose a Paris. "Hey Shino, you think we could find a place to trade our Ryo for the money used here?" Kiba asked, since neither of them had the currency used here, only the Ryo they brought with them. Before Shino could respond, they heard a loud hiss, before Kiba cried out as something suddenly jumped up, and started clawing at his face. Get it off, get it off. Kiba shouted, as Akamaru barked at what was attacking his partner. "I believe that's a Meowth," Shino stated, having recognized the Pokémon. "I don't care what it is, just get it off," said Kiba, while grabbing the Meowth and ripping it away from his face, before throwing it away, making the Meowth hiss even more, while Akamaru jumped down and growled. "What are you doing to Meowth?" someone shouted, getting Kiba and Shino's attention, as they saw two girls their age, with one of them carrying an Eevee. Seeing the girls, Meowth perked up, before running towards one of them and leaping into her arms, purring as it did. "Are you this Meowth's trainer?" Shino asked, with the girl nodding as she petted Meowth. "Yes, this is my Meowth. Are you alright buddy?" she asked, while looking her Pokémon over. Meowth. Meowth uncurled its tail, with the girl narrowing her eyes, when she saw it looked crooked, before glaring at Kiba and Shino. "Which one you stepped on Meowth's tail?" she demanded. "Forget the damn cat's tail. Look at what it did to my face," Kiba said, pointing to all the scratch marks that Meowth left. "HMPH, you deserve nothing less, you mangy mutt," retorted the girl. "Says you, crazy cat girl," stated Kiba. "What did you just call me?" "You heard me." Shino blocked out the rest of the arguing, and looked at the second girl. "Please forgive my friend, he has a tendency to put his foot in his mouth," Shino said, with the girl chuckling sheepishly. "It's fine, Tamaki can be the same, when it comes to anyone who hurts cats. By the way, I'm Shiho, and that's Tamaki. Nice to meet you," Shiho introduced. "Likewise, I am Shino Aburame, and that is Kiba Inuzuka," replied Shino, while pushing his glasses up. "Meowth use furry swipes. Growlithe use ember." Hearing this, Shino sighed, knowing this was likely the beginning of several problems for them. 3 days have passed since Naruto, May, and Max had left the village, with the trio also being accompanied by Brendan. While they were traveling to Verdanturf town, Naruto had also gotten to know Brendan, both from the boy himself, and from May and Max, as well. When they weren't traveling, they would all take the time to train their Pokémon. Currently, that is what Naruto was doing at the moment, overlooking his team as they trained. While a good distance away were a few dozen of his shadow clones. Thankfully, far enough away, so that Brendan wouldn't see them, nor would anyone stumble onto them, either. This was because Naruto, May, and Max weren't sure if they should tell Brendan about his abilities, or not. While May and Max trusted Brendan, they also didn't want him to freak out over all the things Naruto could do. Especially with how he could be overprotective. Plus, all the times that Naruto did reveal his abilities, were during moments that forced his hand. When he first revealed his abilities to May and Max, when they were with Phoebe, he did it to protect Zorua from being hurt by Rico's Tyranitar. And the time that he revealed his abilities in Rustboro City, was due to him helping in stopping the Team Aqua Grunt from stealing from the Devon Corporation and hurting Mr. Briny's Wingull, Pico. Though while Naruto had managed to keep up with his training, his Pokémon had also started training harder, as well. Wanting to push themselves to grow even stronger, after Trico evolved into Grovyle, and none of them wanting to be left behind. Especially Zorua, who was upset at how he tied with Brendan's Tailo, and wanted to get stronger, so next time he would win. Along with winning all the future battles, as well. Not only that, but they learned that after evolving, Grovyle had managed to learn Leaf Blade, while Absorb also evolved into Mega Drain. Not only that, but Naruto had used the TMs for Thunder Punch and Rock Tomb on Grovyle, giving the grass type a wider range of moves and good coverage against flying, fire, bug and ice types as well. Kirlia had also been taught all 3 elemental punches, giving him a much wider range of attacks to use, besides just Confusion, Psybeam, and Draining Kiss. Now all his Pokémon were working on mastering their new attacks, along with increasing their general training, to boost their overall strengths. Naruto had even had his team start randomly throwing attacks at each other, in order to increase their awareness, agility, and reaction time, while making sure they'd always be prepared for surprise attacks. Meanwhile, off to the side, Brendan and Max watched, while their Pokémon did their own training, with the other trainer looking impressed at Naruto's team. Wow, now I see why he was able to beat me in the tournament, if he trains his Pokémon this intensely. Brendan said, having been initially surprised at the training Naruto was giving him Pokémon, thinking it might be a little harsh or brutal. Only to be surprised when all four his Pokémon began completing the training, like it was nothing. And after seeing it, he was impressed with how far they're pushing themselves to be their best. Yeah, Naruto and his team have always had a great drive to grow stronger. And it's not just to keep winning, but to also protect their friends as well. Max said, with Brendan smiling at this. Well, I'm glad that Mei was able to find someone like Naruto, then. Replied Brendan, since so far, he has been impressed with Naruto's personality, and how much he cares about Mei. This made Max smile as well, at seeing Naruto was on his way of getting his and Mei's brother figure's approval. Now let's just hope that translates to Naruto getting Dad's approval, also. Max thought, knowing their father was very overprotective, and wouldn't stop until he had absolute certainty that Naruto was a good match for his little girl. Otherwise, he'd unleash all his Pokémon on Naruto. Naruto continued watching his Pokémon train, pleased with the progress they're making in mastering the new moves they've learned back in the village. While Grovyle and Kirlia were making great progress in mastering their TM moves. Alright guys, keep on training for now. I'm gonna go see how Mei is coming along with her training, and I'll be back afterwards. Said Naruto, after a few moments, and saw that they could keep going without him. But as Naruto walked to where Mei was training, he missed the knowing expressions that his Pokémon gave him. They then looked at each other, before shrugging and resumed their training. Like with Torchic, they didn't understand human mating rituals. With Mei. Meanwhile, Mei was practicing the combo moves that she'll be having her Pokémon use in contests, with Torchic mastering her Flaming Heart combo, which she could now perform without worry of them blowing up. While off to the side, Skitty and Wurmple were having a practice battle, in order to gain more experience and learn more ways to use their respective moves. Especially since Pokémon contest battles require for them to look appealing, while still having enough power to do damage against the opposing Pokémon. Plus, Mei had learned that bug-type Pokémon usually evolve faster than most Pokémon and is hoping that Wurmple is on her way to evolving soon. Though she has currently hit a roadblock in her training. Since while Torchic's ability to use Attract and Will-O-Wisp simultaneously and combine them, is coming along nicely. There was still a problem, with it being that the moment Torchic launches the Flaming Hearts, she no longer has control over them. And given that they're on fire with Will-O-Wisp, they'll definitely a fire hazard, if they got out of control. Even more so if something happens to break Torchic's concentration and they explode. Hey Mei, how's your training going? Naruto asked, while walking up to the coordinator, with Brendan and Max following close behind, with the former of the latter two coming along, to make sure that nothing funny happens between them. While Naruto may be getting his approval, he also wasn't going to leave the two alone for extended periods of time. Oh, hey guys. My training's going pretty well, but I've kind of hit a problem with Torchic's Flaming Hearts combo. While Torchic can use Attract and Will-O-Wisp at the same time and combine them, she can't really control them afterwards. Said Mei, with Naruto frowning, since that'd definitely be a problem. So, she'd either have to find a way for Torchic to control the hearts, or destroy them, so that fire won't be sent everywhere, along with making it look amazing for contests. Naruto thought, thinking of what Mei could do to still use the combo, and not worry about accidentally lighting anything on fire. After a few moments, Naruto perked up as he had an idea of what could be done. Hey Mei, could you let me trying something with Torchic? I think I have an idea that could work. Naruto said, getting the three's attention. Yeah sure. Torchic, I want you to listen to Naruto right now, alright? Said Mei, before going over to stand by Max and Brendan. Torchic nodded in understanding, before looking at Naruto. Alright Torchic, go ahead and create your flaming hearts, while making them go up as high as you can," said Naruto, Torchic nodding, before using Attract, with the hearts going up into the air, before igniting them with blue fire. "Okay, now use Ember on the hearts," Naruto said. Torchic released a stream of ember at the hearts. Though rather than exploding, the hearts began going off like fireworks, colored with pink, blue and orange. This made them all look in awe at the sight before they immediately started clapping in amazement. "That was awesome," Max said, amazed at the combo attack and knew that it'd definitely be perfect for contests. "Yeah, that was incredible," added Brendan. May was shocked at the sight, before she gained a large smile and shot forward, before glomping Naruto. "That was amazing. Thank you so much, Naruto," May said, before kissing him the cheek for his help in making her combo even better than before. This made Naruto blush at May kissing him again, like that, but smiled at his friend's happiness. With May soon realizing what she did, and took a quick step back, as she sport a blush of her own, before smiling at Torchic. "Way to go Torchic, with a combo like that, we'll definitely earn our first ribbon at the Verdanturf Town Pokémon contest," said May, planning to use Torchic in her newest combo in her first contest. Torchic jumped happily, while determined to help her trainer win that contest. Just then, everyone's attention turned to Skitty's and Wurmple's battle, and were surprised to see Wurmple enveloped in a bright blue glow. "Wurmple is evolving," May said in excitement, just as the light faded away, revealing Wurmple's evolved form. Silcoon. Silcoon is a cocoon-like Pokémon that uses silk to attach itself to tree branches. It is almost completely covered in white silk with only 2 small holes. A pair of red eyes can be seen through the holes, but they are partially hidden by a rough fringe of silk. "Silcoon," Naruto said, while scanning the Pokémon. Silcoon, the cocoon Pokémon. Silcoon is the evolved form of Wurmple. Using its thread to attach itself to a tree branch, it waits to evolve to its next stage. When it grows thirsty, it drinks the dew that collects on its string. "Alright. Hi Silcoon," May said, as she picked up Silcoon, and smiled at her. Silcoon. I smiled at her trainer. "Way to go, May," Max said, glad to see his sister's Pokémon evolve. "Yeah, congrats May," added Brendan. "Thanks," May replied, happy that she's one step closer to having her own Beautifly. Later, after getting over their surprise of seeing Wurmple evolve into Silcoon, the 4 had all returned to their training. Though Naruto eventually had to move his Pokémon's training closer to the camp, as he got started on making lunch for everyone. He then waited a few moments, once he was done, before calling everyone to let them know that lunch was ready. It wasn't long, until everyone had arrived, with Naruto setting food for all the Pokémon, before serving the others, as well. "Man, this is really great Naruto. Where'd you learn how to cook?" Brendan asked, while eagerly eating the stew, having been surprised at how delicious the food tasted. "I'm self-taught, and it took a lot of trial and error," replied Naruto, knowing he definitely wasn't as good when he first started cooking, but he thankfully got better over time. "By the way Naruto, what Pokémon do you plan to use against the Marvel Gym leader?" Max asked, curious of which Pokémon he'll use in his second gym battle. "Zorua and Grovyle. Zorua's been feeling down since he lost in his first official tournament, even if it ended in a tie, and wants to show how much he's improved. And Grovyle since grass type are resistant to electric types," Naruto answered. "And what if the Marvel Gym is a 3-on-3 match?" May asked, knowing that the stronger the gym leader, the more Pokémon they used against trainers, like her father's gym. "If it's a 3-on-3, then I'll use Zigzagoon, since he didn't get to battle Roxanne," replied Naruto, with Zigzagoon perking up, while looking eager at the chance to battle a gym leader. "Those are some good choices," Brendan said, knowing only ground type were really effective against electric type, so Naruto's choices were his best shots at beating the Marvel Gym leader. After everyone had finished eating lunch, they had packed up everything, and recalled their Pokémon, before continuing on their way. Though as they walked down Route 116, they suddenly heard a Pokémon cry out. "Was that a Pokémon?" May asked, worried as it sounded like whatever made that sound was in pain. "Yeah, it sounded hurt. Come on, let's go," said Naruto, wanting to see if a Pokémon needed help, or was in trouble. Nodding, the four ran through the trees, following the Pokémon's cries. Soon they arrived, and saw two injured Pokémon, backed against a boulder. "Ah, those are Eevees," Max said, surprised to see such rare Pokémon. "Eevee, huh," said Naruto, while scanning the Eevees. Eevee, the evolution Pokémon. Eevee is rarely seen, and can adapt to severe habitats by evolving, changing its capabilities and form. Eevee is a mammalian, quadruped Pokémon with primarily brown fur. The tip of its bushy tail and its large furry collar are cream-colored. It has short, slender legs with 3 small toes and a pink paw pad on each foot. Eevee has brown eyes, long pointed ears with dark brown interiors, and a small black nose. Looking at the Eevees, Naruto noted that one of the Eevees, that was standing protectively in front of the other Eevee, was different color. Being a silver-white color, rather than the normal brown. Before the group could figure out what scared the Eevees, they saw a man step out from the trees with a cruel smirk, as he looked at the Eevees. It didn't take long for the four to realize this guy was a Pokémon poacher, much to their disgust and anger. "Hold it right there," Naruto shouted, as they ran out in front of the Eevees and glared at the poacher. "Beat you little runts, those Eevees belong to me," said the poacher, annoyed that these brats were getting in the way. "No way. We aren't going to let someone like you hurt these Pokémon," Brendan said, while glaring at the poacher, having never liked these kinds of people, who only use Pokémon for their own benefit. "Grr, fine. Then I'll force you to get lost. Muck, Firo, teach these runts a lesson," the poacher said, when sending out his Pokémon. Muck is a large, sticky, amorphous Pokémon, made of living purple sludge. It has 2 small eyes with beady black pupils. It also has an enormous mouth, with a gray tongue, and strands of ooze connecting its top and bottom jaws. While it has no visible legs, it does have 2 arms with 3 fingers on each hand. However, it typically keeps one hand tucked in, while it extends the other hand. Firo is a large, mostly brown avian Pokémon with a vulturine neck and broad, powerful wings. It has a long, pointed, pink beak and a decorative red coxcomb on top of its head. Its narrow eyes have very small pupils, and do not appear to have colored irises. It has shaggy feathers at the base of its neck and covering the upper portion of its wings. These feathers are cream-colored, as are the tips of its flight feathers. Its sharp clawed talons are pink, with 3 toes pointing forward and 1 pointing backward. Taking a moment, Naruto scanned both Pokémon. Muck, the sludge Pokémon. The evolved form of Grimmer, with a horribly toxic liquid seeping out of its expanded body. Firo, the beak Pokémon. The evolved form of Spearow. Its large, powerful wings allow it to fly for an entire day. The crushing power of its beak is tremendous. "Alright, if it's battle you want, then bring it," Naruto said, before throwing out all of his Pokémon, with Brendan doing the same, while May released Torchic. Firo used Sky Attack, and Muck used Sludge. The poacher ordered. Firo. Firo flew high up, before diving down towards its enemies, with a white aura covering its body. Muck. Muck opened its mouth, unleashing a volley of sludge at the other Pokémon. "All of you dodge." Zorua used Feint Attack on Firo, Grovyle used Thunder Punch on Firo, Zigzagoon used Snarl on Muck, and Kirlia used Psybeam on Muck. Said Naruto. "You all dodge as well." Tailo used Quick Attack on Firo, Puccina used Dark Pulse on Muck, and Grovyle used Fury Cutter on Firo. Said Brendan. "Torchic dodge and use Ember on Muck." May said. Zagoon. Zigzagoon unleashed several black and purple rings against Muck, knocking it back. Kirlia. Kirlia launched his Psybeam at Muck. Torchic. Torchic released a stream of embers. Puccina. Finally, Puccina fired a beam of black and purple circles. All 3 attacks combined together before impacting Muck, sending the sludge Pokémon back crashing into a tree with swirls in its eyes. Next was Zorua charging Firo from the left, turning the beak Pokémon's attention towards him, leaving it open to be attacked by Tailo from above. With Zorua then vanishing and attacking Firo from the right. Brendan's Grovyle then rushed in and began rapidly cutting at Firo with his arm leaves. Finally Naruto's Grovyle jumped into the air and descended down towards Firo, with his fist glowing yellow and sparking with electricity. Grovyle. Grovyle slammed his fist down onto Firo, sending it crashing into the ground, with swirls in its eyes. Useless Pokémon. The poacher snarled, angry at his Pokémon being defeated. Now beat it and leave these Eevees alone, said Naruto, glaring at the poacher, who growled and glared at them. Not happening, you damn brats, shouted the poacher, before he pulled out a gun. This made the four tense up at seeing the poacher had a weapon, with Naruto preparing to deal with the poacher, before he can fire a shot. Though they relaxed, when Zorua suddenly appeared, having used his ability to turn invisible, and knock the poacher down, before a blue glow surround the poacher. Looking, they saw Kirlia was responsible, holding the poacher down with his psychic powers. Turning back to the poacher, the four glared at him along with their Pokémon, only to smirk as they got an idea. Later, the four nodded, pleased at seeing that the poacher was now stripped down to his underwear and tied to a tree, while his Pokeballs and weapons were far out of his reach. Naruto had also contacted Officer Jenny, and told her everything that happened, and where they were, who in turn told them that she'd be there as soon as possible. However, their attention then turned back to the Eevees, and became worried as they saw the condition they were in. The silver-white one looking even worse, likely from protecting the other Eevee. Hey there, little guys, Naruto said softly, as he and Mei knelt down beside the Eevees, with the two baring their teeth at them, but didn't make move to attack, being too tired and injured. Pulling out some potions and bandages, Naruto and Mei carefully began tending to the two Eevees but knew that they'd have to get them to a Pokémon Center to be fully healed. Once they finished doing what they could, Naruto and Mei picked up the Eevees, before all four of them took off running to the nearest Pokémon Center. Thankfully, they didn't have to run too long, before spotting a center just up the path. Nurse Joy, these Eevees need help, Naruto said, as they ran inside, getting the Nurse Joy's attention, before catching sight of the two Eevees in Naruto and Mei's arms and moved to help them, along with Chansey following with a stretcher. Quick, set them here and we'll get to work, Nurse Joy said, with Naruto and Mei doing so, before following Nurse Joy and Chansey to the exam room, wanting to make sure the Eevees were alright, only stopping once the door closed in front of them. With that, the four were stuck waiting and worrying for news about the Eevees, hoping they'd be alright. Finally, after what felt like forever, Nurse Joy and Chansey came out of the exam room, smiling at the four. Well, I'm happy to say that the Eevees will make a complete recovery, though it'll be a while, before they're able to leave. They're sleeping right now, but if you want, you can go in and check on them, said Nurse Joy. Yes, thank you, Nurse Joy, Mei said, relieved that the Eevees were alright. The four entered the exam room and saw the Eevees sleeping on a bed. Hey, why is this Eevee a different color from the other? Naruto wondered, finally having the time to be curious of the different colored Eevee. Yeah, I was wondered that, too. The Pokédex showed the brown Eevee was the normal color, so why is this one silver-white? Said Mei, also curious about the strange coloring. It's a shiny Eevee, Brendan said, getting their attention. Shiny? Naruto asked, with Brendan nodding. Yeah, I learned about them when I was helping my dad with his research. Shiny Pokémon are a rare breed of Pokémon that are easily identifiable by the fact that they're a completely different color from the rest of their species. Like these Eevee, the brown one is the normal coloring, while the silver-white one is a shiny Eevee. Brendan explained. Oh yeah, I remember reading about shiny Pokémon. Not only are they different colors, but they're also supposed to be much stronger, as well. In fact, we encountered already shiny Pokémon, remember? Back in Petalburg Forest, the Trevenant that Phoebe caught. Max said, with Naruto and Mei's eyes widening at this information and nodding, as they remembered their encounter with the Ghost-type Elite Four member. And given that Eevees are already a rare Pokémon to come across, a shiny Eevee would definitely be something that plenty of people would be after, along with a normal one. Said Max, knowing an Eevee alone was a rare catch, a shiny one would just be icing on the cake. Afterwards, the group continued to watch the Eevees as they rested, with Naruto and Mei being the most adamant to make sure they were alright and to be there for when they wake up. This led to Brendan and Max occasionally going out of the room to get food and bring some back for Naruto and Mei. This routine continued for several hours, until finally, the two Eevees began stirring. Eevee. The shiny Eevee was the first to wake up, followed shortly by the normal Eevee. You're awake, said Naruto, smiling at the Eevees, with the two immediately stiffening, before growling at the strangers, only to stop when they recognized Naruto and Mei. Eevee. The Eevees perked up at seeing the two, that helped them. Hello Eevee, we're glad to see you're awake, Mei said, while smiling at them, before reaching over and petting the normal Eevee, with Naruto doing the same to the shiny one. Both Eevees happily leaned into the touch, thankful to the two for saving them from the poacher and healing them. Time skip, 4 days. After the Eevees had woken up, the group had decided to stay at the Pokémon Center, until they were fully recovered. With the Eevees becoming especially attached to Naruto and Mei, for their part in helping them. Now though, it was time to bring the Eevees back into the wild, as they were fully healed. Naruto and Mei had volunteered to do so, before they head out again, with Max and Brendan. Alright, this should be far enough, Naruto said, as they came to a stop, deep in the forest, having wanted to take the Eevees far away from where anyone else might try capturing them, like the poacher had. Well, I guess this goodbye, Eevee. Good luck and stay safe, Mei said, smiling sadly at having to let Eevee go, while crouching down. Only to be surprised, when the normal Eevee jumped onto her lap. Eevee. Eevee wagged its tail, while nuzzling against Mei's chest. Huh, what? You don't want to go? Mei asked, with Eevee shaking its head, and put a paw on Mei's pouch, where she kept her Pokeballs. I think Eevee wants you to catch it, Mei, said Naruto, before looking at the shiny Eevee that was looking up at him. Eevee. The shiny Eevee crouched down, before jumping onto Naruto's shoulder. You want to come too? Naruto asked, surprised at this, with the shiny Eevee nodding. Looking at each other, Naruto and Mei smiled happily at the Eevees wanting to stay, before pulling out Pokeballs and tapping them against their respective Eevees' heads, with them being sucked in. Alright, we caught our own Eevees. Naruto cheered as he and Mei high-fived. They then let out their new Eevees and scanned them to see their moves. Eevee. Gender, female. Ability, anticipation. Moves, quick attack, helping hand, baby doll eyes, swift. Egg moves, none. Eevee, shiny. Gender, male. Ability, adaptability. Moves, covet, tail whip, bite, swift. Egg moves, none. Naruto and Mei smiled at their Eevees' move sets, seeing that they'll be good for contests and battles, respectively. Welcome aboard Eevee, Naruto said. Eevee. The Eevees smiled at their new trainers. With that, Naruto and Mei returned to the Pokémon Center, eager to show their friends the new additions to their teams. So, what did you think? Good. Yep, Naruto and Mei have both caught their very own Eevees, with Naruto's also being a shiny one to boot, after saving them from a poacher. Though don't worry, Mei will still get her other Eevee when they head off to Kanto for the Battle Frontier. We also get a look into their training with Grovyle and Kirlia both learning some new moves, while Naruto helps Mei and Torchic learn a new combo, while Wurmple also evolves into Silcoon. Now then onto the Omake. Omake. Blades of Lighting and Water. Oh man, I really hope I lost her, thought Chojuro, as he peeked out from his hiding spot in a bush, while looking around nervously. Oshawott, do you see her anywhere? Chojuro asked his starter Pokémon, who was hiding in a tree and had a better view than him. Osha. Oshawott shook its head, much to Chojuro's relief. Phew, we lost them, Chojuro said, relaxing, only to pale when he heard someone shout. Oh shark boy, where are you? Crap, 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 Chojuro thought, ducking down, while Oshawott quickly climbed higher in its tree. Risking it, Chojuro peeked through the leaves, only to shiver when he saw his pursuer, Karui, looking around with a glare on her face. He had met Karui not long after he arrived in the Unova region, learning she was from the elemental nations like him, specifically Kumo. And after learning he was from Kiri, she had suggested they travel together. Well, more like dragged him along, against his will. He had tried escaping a few times, mostly because Karui terrified him, whenever she and her own starter Pokémon wanted to battle him and Oshawott. And they could get very aggressive, while battling. Though honestly Chojuro did like traveling with a fellow ninja, but Karui just really scared him, sometimes. Chojuro's eyes then widened, when he realized someone was missing. Wah wait, where's her Elekid? Chojuro thought, not seeing Karui's starter anywhere. Elekid. Oshawott. Chojuro jumped, when he saw a flash of lightning above him, before Oshawott fell out of the tree, twitching and smoking. Oshawott. Found you, good work Ellicott. Karui said, with Chojuro gulping as Karui stood over him. Ellicott gave its trainer a thumbs up, as it jumped out the tree and watched her drag Chojuro out of his hiding spot, while it grabbed Oshawott. The next battle was going to be so much fun.